Good evening, everybody. It's now time for round two of the 2025 FS1 campaign here on GPVWC. My name is Eoin Harmon, and unfortunately, Alex Hallows is unable to be with us this evening, but we have a very exciting substitute. It's the All Ireland affair. Amir Oates, welcome aboard. How are you keeping?
Thank you very much, Eoin. I'm really excited here for what is round two for the Formula Sprint 1 Championship here. It makes its return after long years of waiting. Since 2020, we finally returned to what has been a fan and driver's favourite in Istanbul Park. A lot of drivers here have been singing their praises here for the return here, and after a phenomenal display of Formula Sprint 2, Formula Sprint 1 is going to hope to continue with that amazing racing that we see here through this 5.3 kilometre circuit. And after a very stunning opener here at Australia, it's all going to be very interesting to see how the drivers here navigate through this circuit.
Absolutely. So, broadcast director Remco Zeeuw always keeping us nice and informed about what's going on with the camera work, and indeed, the historical significance of the track means that there's a lot of unknowns because you have to look back to 2020, as you said, Amir. We've got Quinte and Leon Bock as winners 5 years ago, and then 6 years ago we've Heasterbeek and Muscat, so Jason Muscat and the all-conquering Malta Force team. Certainly will be excited to see this one back on the calendar. As we saw, round one was a delight for their team and their brand new drivers, Andrzejewski and Micah, who both won a race each in Melbourne, and that certainly sets up the championship neatly in their column thus far, but certainly don't rule out the likes of Frank Hamming there, P3, after he got a 5th place and then a 2nd place in the shorter race 2. Giuseppe Saracino for the debuting team Sheba. Very, very exciting return for them, getting 27 points for Giuseppe. Then we've Oliver Taras, Sven de Vries, Vin Glenn, Scott Flack, Toon Lure, and Thomas Smith, all in the top 10 of the Drivers' Championship there. A fair few drivers have scored 10 points down to 2 with Lorenzo De Cutis, the driver with 2 points in 22nd. I see on my screen, the top 10 still pretty compact, so you had a lot of abilities to make up for lost points perhaps in Melbourne. So a more open track here in Istanbul, and it will definitely be a chance for everybody to give it a go and learn what they may have failed at Melbourne, and give it a better go as we head into the qualifying, Amir.
Absolutely. Just only a handful of drivers here on the grid have raced in the Formula Sprint 1 cars back in 2020. However, that was with different regulations, with a different set of speeds. This is going to be the first time whenever we're going to have these, new FS1 cars, especially with the push-to-pass mechanic as well. With that all in mind, that means that most of the drivers here are coming in particularly blind because they've got no set from what they had last season. So, for instance, from Melbourne, if you were a returning driver, you've had your previous year's basis, but this one here, it's been 5 long years and lots of things have changed ever since then. So as you said before, everyone's going to come in blind, and it's effectively an open book, and there's no predictions to see who's going to really prosper and come out as fast as here today at the moment.
Precisely, yeah. So only a handful of teams could probably give the intel. Maybe drivers who are watching Tuesday's action in FS2, they'd have a bit of familiarity about the track. But yeah, there's no real definitive attribute to the circuit because the straights are very long here. You have about 2 or 3 different straights, and then of course the hard braking zones as well. You have to get turn 1 and the various bits of camber sorted, then the long rundown between 2 and 3, turn 4 hard braking zone into 7, plenty of chances to overtake there if you're brave. Then the famous turn 8, of course, that'll work the tires extremely hard, and then again turns 9, and then the final complex 12, 13, 14, you'll be using the brakes there. So there's no obvious route where you can say, look, my car should have high downforce, it should have low downforce, and suspension, for example, should be soft or hard. It's kind of like you have to find a middle ground. But yeah, definitely the if you just had a plain setup where it just does a little bit of everything, you'll be caught out as well due to the variety we have on show here in Istanbul Park. So our drivers are just waiting now for our opportunity to get the green light for qualifying, and there we go, on board here with Andrzejewski, who was very pleased to get his Multiforce career off to the perfect start, pretty much, with a second place just behind Micah there in the feature race, and then he won the top 10 reverse grid sprint. So yeah, he has a chance now to build this early championship lead. Amir just 10 points, but still to get that motivational boost in the campaign, knowing how difficult he had. He had some very difficult moments last season, and to get this hoodoo shaken off his shoulder, I think, yeah, this is definitely what he needed to unleash his potential.
Absolutely, it's really is in fact a dream start for Multiforce. I don't think they could be any more happier than having Pavel Andrzejewski having that, first place reverse grid win. I think it really does do a lot of favors for him, as you said, with the situations they had previously last year. He'll be really ecstatic to be 10 points ahead of his technically now his championship rival, but also fellow teammate as well. And with that, now his confidence coming into Istanbul is looking pretty good. It's been pretty fast during the warm-ups, and also both of the Multiforce drivers are actually been very fast actually for the warm-ups here, and we'll see it be able to translate into the qualifying paces here, because they definitely look like the team to beat at the moment.
Yeah, without a doubt, but of course, yeah, things can change very, very fast. GPVWC. So yeah, let's see if they can keep the momentum going. It's certainly the crucial opinion here. 9 cars in the server as of right now. I think one team needed a substitute to come in. I don't think they've got their wishes just for America. Yeah, I think it might be KKR who needs a reserve to step up, but we'll see for sure if they're sorted. So I'll just double check now as we watch the opening laps of our private qualifying session, where everybody is on the track at the same time, but they do not interact with each other, and they don't really see how each opponent is getting on, so it avoids the trickery potentially of slipstream or getting blocked in an inopportune time. So we can see everyone, most people have logged the sector one time, and it's advantage Micah with a 33.559. So we'll double check everybody's getting on when the lap is complete, but everybody's going to have a purple sector 1 at the very least, since we don't have a representative time just yet. Sector 2, again, Micah is in favor there, but still very close. So if you can hang on to this, then it will be the provisional pole going the way of the number 14 Polish driver here. So yeah, we have no shortage of Polish drivers, and indeed we joked in the build-up between myself and Amir, we have the 4 Matthewses all on the grid at the same time, so we have to make sure we call them by their surname to avoid confusion. There we go, Micah, one of our Matthewses, crossed the line with a 1 minute 30.1 to secure provisional pole there, with Patrick Roszak, another Polish driver for a Nexium pole team, joining him on the front row there, with Andrzejewski 3rd, Vinglen 4th, and Massimiliano Raboli for Pixelate, a very impressive 5th.
Yeah, very decent early times already coming in with already 5 minutes in through. But Micah with that really good, astonishing performance than Vera, about 4-6 thousandths faster than Roszak. Definitely what he currently needs at the minute. But the interesting thing to note about the track layout as well is sometimes as well, we've had a bit of problem with this in Melbourne, it seems sometimes a bit before. But the fact the track is so wide as well, in addition to that, means that a lot of these drivers won't have to worry about, having the problems of having to needed to slow down as well within such a wide track as Istanbul. That does also play a bit an advantage as well. But I just think those turns 2 and turns 8 is going to be so crucial, as much as well as carrying through that speed out of turn 8 into the back 2 straights. And then, it's just the final sector as well. We've seen it before about how people sometimes lose their fastest times through the final few corners. I think Istanbul has also got a very similar characteristic as well. And it's going to be very interesting to see how these drivers can navigate through those corners to make the most of it, what they can. But Matthias, though, 1:31 is the time to beat now with 10 minutes left.
Yeah, so a bit of grass there for Janssen Bintz, making the most of what he's got on the racing surface, but you don't want to do that too often. You could get deducted for track limits, for example. And here's Tom Lafont and 01 Esports, another debuting team. They got off to a reasonable start there with Lafont in particular in race 2. He had a very strong ending to the race. He pulled some great strategic moves off and made sure he could overtake the right people at the right time to bag 4 points for himself and the team. Whereas teammate Juho Sopanen not quite able to replicate that as he retired in both the races in Melbourne, but he has a chance to build himself up all over again. And yeah, KKR do have both their drivers today, so that's sorted. Menno Clant, the new signing to join Tylene, currently 16th place, whereas Tylene himself is 13th, so KKR will definitely want to prove themselves with their next lap. Still reasonable amount of time to go. You can set 3 or 4 more laps if you're tactical enough. So we'll see now on his out lap here, Clant is working the tires and the temperatures. Make sure he's going. So let's see if he gets on, as most other drivers, of course, will be on their out laps as well. Most people will be on a similar routine. And yeah, most drivers are currently out on circuit. Tin Lure and Janssen Bint, the only exceptions at the moment. So we've plenty more opportunities to see better lap times as the track beds in here, Amir.
Absolutely. Just you talking about having to do 2 laps though, but with the nature of the circuit as well, those tires are going to be easily completely worn as Clant slowly goes across the line, so to start his with one lap. But as you said, if it's going to be interesting to see if people do get 2 laps in, because if you're slow in your first lap, I don't think that advantage will be any better on the second, unless if it is just simply by momentum, because those tires will be absolutely worn from turn 2 and turn 8. I think it will more likely be, I think most drivers are just going to aim for a 1 lap affair, in my opinion, to set these fastest laps as well. So we can, I think that's probably how we're going to see things here unravel for qualifying, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's certainly one way of looking at it. So we'll now head towards the halfway point. 7.5 minutes elapsed and 7.5 minutes to go. So on board here through the turn 8 quadruple apex. We'll see now how Menno stacks up against his previous time and against the drivers he'll be competing for, to make sure certainly his agony after getting reverse grid pole in a race a fortnight ago, I'm sure that's all put behind him now. Just losing the back end in the battle with Saracino. Just went a pear-shaped for him, so he's definitely up on his previous time, just making sure he hangs on in there for the final 3 corners. A lot of patience needed, don't get on the throttle too early. See riding the high line there, make sure he can turn sharply for the apex. Oh, he's missed the outside curbs there a bit, so he's lost time and does not improve. So that's a really frustrating end to that lap there for Clant. Do now have a full server now, all 30 drivers are now on track, so it might have been Team Sheba who needed their second car, but they're all sorted now. Let's have a look at Scott Flack, Overpower, and again they had an exciting run in Melbourne there. In Flack's case, he got 11th and 6th in the 2 races, so yeah, Overpower will be certainly thrilled with how they got on. They're 5th in the Teams Championship, just behind Team Sheba and ahead of LEF Auto Racing. So let's see how he gets on. Not an improvement there, I'm afraid, Amir, but yeah, definitely more to play for, as he certainly has the team advantage there with Thomas Smith in 14th at the moment.
Yeah, you see just how much he lost it there from the final corner, though. But Roshkak, though, with the new provisional pole, that it will be absolutely magical for him if he can manage to clinch pole position for that. But look between them, Multiforce drivers, Andrzejewski did improve, but it's only 1,000th of his team up from Maka. So got about 5 minutes left to go. They might be able to take away from Roshkak. It's probably going to be a 3-car drag race to get that pole position between those 3. But Saracino, though, did a good improvement as well to bolster up to himself up into 4th. So he's got a good chance if he improves any more. Now Janssen Bits coming out through the final corner now. It's been a bit green. It's going to be good improvement for him. He pushes himself up into 5th. Very good there from the Pixelite Racing team driver.
Yeah, outstanding work there from Bint to get himself a top 5 with the final third of the session left. So yeah, great sign there for Pixelite. We'll figure out if that carries on any longer. So yeah, it'll be very competitive to try and knock him off that perch to for someone else to try and spot in. So Frank Hamming, definitely mentioned him in the build-up with his healthy dose of points 2 weeks ago. And of course, the podium runner-up spot in race 2. But yeah, it is qualifying. It's something that will need to improve just to make sure he can stick around with the top 3 at the moment. It's a Polish delight at the moment here in Turkey. So let's see if Hamming on his outlap can now prepare himself for a big lap to get himself competitive with his teammate and new signing Vin Glenn, where HGP expect to be. They want to be challenging for regular podiums and wins as best they can. So Hamming through sector 1 now. The nice wide open sweeps before he heads into the hard braking zone of turn 4 downhill right. Needs to settle in properly there, make sure the traction is all ready for turn 5. Certainly unexpectedly fast corner if you can get it spot on. Now the run down from turn 6 up to turn 7. So if you know by now, if your lap is looking good, then yeah, you can be excited. But yeah, still in full concentration. So at the moment he's down in sector 1 compared to his best. Let's see if he can claw back some of the tenths of a second necessary. And I think, yeah, let's see what he gets on. Through the 9-10, almost chicane. It's not quite a traditional chicane, but yeah, it definitely does get you moving. So yeah, a little bit of improvement here in sector 2, Amir. But yeah, it's all down to turns 12 through 14 to try and figure out if he can get back into position as other drivers in and around him showing reasonable pace. Juho Soppinen got a purple sector 3, but yeah, he abandons the lap, I'm afraid. So Soppinen got purple sector 3, so that's a great showing. If you just get the rest of the lap together, that'll be a huge improvement.
32.8. I think he made a bit of a mistake either for the first. It was from the first sector, 3 seconds slow. Then muster that third sector to good use. Well, then Glenn gets purple in sector 1, so that's going to be a pretty good improvement there from the German if he can muster that up through the second sector now, right on board with them now, trying to go flat out through turn 8 now. Pretty good line so far through the rundown now, and then as you said, it's not quite the chicane for turns 9 and 10, all very important for this exit here because it's going to lay in front for that double straight ahead, and it's flat out for 11 as well. Gonna go through the second sector, see if that's gonna be, it's a bit yellow, but I think he'll just about make a position gain if it just gets through the third sector. Oh well, he just needs to be a bit tidy, not too squirmy. We have seen, again, it's so easy through those final few corners to just simply lose it, but if you just keep it clean, maybe he'll be able to rescue his time as he goes on through the final corner of turn 14. It's pretty straight, and it's now a drag line now to the finish to see where he can finish up now. What can he muster from that purple first sector? It is an improvement, but he still is in 7th.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I think he's taken a lot of curb there out of the first corner, just trying to push a little bit harder now to see if he can improve. So this is definitely the deciding moments of this session. So yeah, everybody should be set for a lap very soon. Carl Magnus Bore with a 1 minute 30.5, getting himself into 14th position.
Mac has gone slow for the first. Mac has gone through slow for the first sector, so it's not going to be very good if he's looking for his pole position hopes here. That did hold provisional pole position earlier through the session, but he's going to need to look for a miracle now for the remaining 2 sectors to see if he can take it away from Rushak now. It's going to be interesting to see, though.
Yeah, a big ride of the curb there, pushing as hard as he possibly can to get himself back into the green, or maybe even the purple. There's the purple now for sector 2. Micah wants to get his pole position back off Roshak. Let's see if it is going to happen for him. Another 15 seconds. We'll figure it out for sure. And there we go. Corner 12, 13. And last of all, 14. Yeah, it looks very clean there. And you got to push hard if you can. It's a 130.0. It's not enough. It's so close. Just 7,000. That's devastating. But he will want to try and carry on one last lap. The other time coming in, I think Wesley Stefano down in 23rd position got a 130.8. So yeah, really competitive session here. You can see 25 drivers on our timing tower, all within a second of each other. And he's gone spinning, so I suppose he's realised that lap wasn't going to deliver the way he wanted it. But Massimiliano Roboli on screens here for Pixelate. This could be a great session for the team to get one of their drivers close to Janssen Bits, of course. Yeah, so Janssen Bits already in 6th place, Amir. And let's see if Roboli can make it a double top 8. Just needs to get ahead of Latinen, and he's done it. No, not quite. Just an improvement for his personal records, but not positional improvement. And here's Andrzejewski, Amir. Take it away. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone purple in the first sector now. It's going to try and see what he can rescue from, because he knows his teammate is not fast at all and is spun. So can be a possibility to beat his teammate and possibly Rushcat now. Purple through second sector as well. So it's just the final sector now for him to clinch pole position. The championship leader just needs final few corners left to go now. Goes through turns 12 through to 13 now. Keep it clean through 14, and it's just a straight run to the finish now. It's pretty good. It looks pretty good. I think he might be able to do it. Yes, he does done it.
Yes.
He does it. Wow, 300ths faster than Rushak, and that will probably clinch pole position.
Stupendous work there. Andrzejewski saving the best till last there. Brilliant job. And Patrick Roszak was probably watching that through his hands there and thinking in fear, oh no, have I failed in my mission to get a pole position? And I'm afraid, for Nexium pole team, they have been denied by the class of Andrzejewski. He's put himself right in the mix again to get a potential feature race victory coming up very soon. And he'll be absolutely overjoyed with that one. So there we go. Pavel Andrzejewski on pole for race 1 coming up in just a moment. Patrick Roszak so close, hanging on to the very end, but it is P2 for him. Matthews Micah, who got pole 2 weeks ago, has to settle for 3rd this time, 400s off. We've Giuseppe Saracino, Oliver Taras, Janssen Bins, Vin Glenn, Yassi Latinen, Massimiliano Roboli, and Thomas Smith in the top 10, all about half a second or less from each other. And then Lucas Tyling so close to 1,000th from being declared in the top 10. So close. And we've Scott Flack, Lorenzo De Cutis, Raymond Van Soest, and Kasper Michalak in our top 15. So they are in points paying positions. And again, you can see the closeness of our session with Carl Magnus Bore, Mateusz Gazowski, Mateusz Dabrowski, Frank Hamming, all within 0.6 of one another. And then Menno Klunt there, P20, 0.7 of a second off pole. We move on to our final screen now, and we've Tun Luer, 21st for Team Iris. Then we've Owen Phil Hausvik for 100 to 1, Philip Koenig for Griffon, Wesley Stefano, Sven de Vries, Juho Soppinen, Matthew Zabinski, Alexander Gonzalez Green, Tom Lafont, and then Marcus Christensen completing our grid. So look at all those times within a second of each other. 27 in total of our drivers getting within a second of pole, Amir. So the standard is tip top, and we are ready for a very exciting race after our warm-up.
Absolutely. Looks very interesting for how well that these drivers in such a short space of time managed to accumulate themselves into the environment of Istanbul Park. But this is probably going to be one of the most important qualifying sessions that we see here in the season, given the nature of Istanbul, especially through Sector 1 and Sector 2. It's going to be really, really hard for these drivers to be able to keep behind to one another as much as they possibly can. So not only is the qualifying session going to be very important, but also the start would be important as well, because without that DRS, it's going to just be with the strategy of how well you can time your push to pass. And obviously we're going to see this coming out for turns 9 and 10 with that added slipstream. It's going to act as sort of a mini DRS for a lot of these drivers as well. So that's going to be something very interesting, in fact, to see throughout this race. And another interesting thing to probably point out as well is with these tires, whenever you go on high speed for turn 2 and through turn 8, you're going to wear a lot on your rubber as much as you can if you just take it at speed. So I think we were talking about this a bit before. You either sacrifice speed and preserve your tires as much as you can to go for the long haul, or you just speed through as much as you possibly can through the dirty air, and as a result lose so much tire wear as a result. So I think that in itself, tire management is going to be something extremely crucial here. But for the lead runners, which don't have that dirty air to navigate for like turn 2 and turn 8, I think they're going to be at a big advantage, to be honest.
Yeah, I can see exactly what you mean, Amir. Yeah, to have that track position advantage is really important. But of course, when it comes to the pit stops, yeah, it could be a case where they are mixing it up with traffic for that little while. But yeah, they should have the confidence to attack the racetrack without worrying about dirty air. But yeah, definitely everyone just in the top 5 and below will want to compete as hard as they can while they have perhaps 2 or 3 laps with equal footing. And then yeah, definitely will be a case where you've got to start managing your tires very rapidly, with 29 laps in our feature race to start with. And yeah, so everybody's now sharing the track for the warm-up, and something the media team wants to introduce for 2025 is the fact we give a few minutes to each team across our 16 race season. So at the Australian Grand Prix, we had Griffon Esports in our YouTube thumbnail for the broadcast, and this event we will have Team Iris, so we may as well talk the 2 different teams been featured in the thumbnails first and see how they're getting on, just to give them a little bit of a profile. And I suppose we can go back to Griffon, and I'm afraid, yeah, the news was very grim for them. Michalak actually got disqualified for breaching the tyre rules, as he didn't start on the compound he qualified on. So yeah, that's something that Michalak qualified in 15th. That's something that will definitely be on his mind. He won't make that mistake again.
No, absolutely not. I think it's just it's a simple but it's a very great mistake. The regulations for a reason to produce close racing. I think might be just simply forgot onto the grid because it is for a set number of positions, but being within the top 12 simply can't do that. And yeah, it's just completely under the work that he did from qualifying in 12th, and having start from P15 now. He's got ways to make remedies from that, but with Griffon itself, they're coming off from effectively a pointless Australian Grand Prix, but it's fine because it means that there's not much pressure into them heading into Turkey. They can say they can start afresh, have new momentum to start with, and having been experienced, it means that they've sort of been in this position before in this championship here, and they have got wins under the belt as well. So they're sort of like in they have been in, it's the first time they've been in a situation like this before whenever a driver's got disqualified, but their momentum is still there from what they've carried from last year, I feel. And with that, I don't think there's much of a burden having what happened back in Australia to carry through here to Turkey. And I think they're just starting afresh here. So for Philip Kong and Casper, the drivers here, I think they're just starting afresh, I'd say. And they look pretty okay for Istanbul, I must say. So it's going to be interesting to see how they develop on from here.
Yes, of course. So yeah, they picked up the best free agent in the industry with Shimon Frelick. He got them a staggering amount of victories, 9 in total, in like the 18 race that the 18 events that he participated in with the team. So 50% strike rate, which is absolutely extraordinary when you think about it. And he ended the season a perfect sweep in Sao Paulo. Those are the kind of memories you need to invoke and start fresh when something hasn't gone to plan. They know how to win races, and they'll want to try and do it again. So let's see how they get on. But happier times for the debuting Team Iris. They were very impressive on debut. They currently sit, just bring it up again. So they sit 8th in our championship with 15 points. And yeah, certainly with the performance of Tun Lure, he got a 7th place in the feature event. Or sorry, no, it was the feature. So he got a 7th place. Then unfortunately he retired in a very hectic sprint race, and Carl Magnus Bore got himself a double point score, 14th and then 15th. So that picked up a few extra points to get them ahead of the likes of KKR and Pixelate, so no mean feat there. to get a slight advantage over some established teams here in FS1. So I think, yeah, they're right in the middle of the pack there. And yeah, they have the impetus to carry on the form and try and pick up more points here, Amir.
Absolutely. Been a debut season for Team Iris as a whole here in the GPVWC ladder, but with their successes in all the other disciplines within R Factor 2, they have got Tön Lawyer and Carl Magnus Bora both have got endurance and other sort of disciplines of racing to their under their belts. But something that we have seen kind of recently here throughout the ladder is endurance racing drivers do translate really well here in the Formula races, because whenever you're because effectively endurance is really, really long, and in comparison, these races are fairly short for what these stints these drivers more or less do. So for Tern Lure, it's both a surprise and also not a surprise that for within his new outfit, he managed to get himself up into 7th, and Carl Magnus Bora both got points finishes, which is really helps Iris up into the points table with 15. And with that, it just means that they've got, a very nice, steady, healthy momentum on their hands. And I think, generally, we could probably see them continuing to score points throughout the rest of the season. And I'm pretty excited to see how much more development both Laura and Boric can develop, because both of them have been very capable drivers, I'd say, and they are definitely showcasing the talents. They've, raced before. Ten Laura has raced in the Formula Sprints too in the academy team, which scored points, so it shows he's like no slouch. And both of them have done very well also in last year's academy series as well. So I'm excited to see what progress is going to be happening for this purple team.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they of course, yeah, as you said, they have plenty of experience elsewhere in endurance racing, for example. So yeah, they know what they're doing, even if it is a brand new championship for the team to be listed under. And just with 2 minutes to go here in the warm-up session, Roshak has just lost his time at the top of the standings there as MS Performance and Raymond Van Soest make their approach for a claim to fame there. Get the MS Performance team on top of the standings for a brief moment at least. But I was just going to say Roshak will want to ace his race setup to give himself a chance to compete with our Multiforce duo and try and get himself and Nexium Paul team some crucial opportunities to battle for victories and podiums. So and of course there Frank Hamming in 3rd, also important for him to be working hard on his race setup to make overtakes and be able to adapt as strongly as possible with his strategy calls. So let's see how he gets on there. So there's the EMS Performance, a lot more dark purple on show this season compared to their livery last year. A lot of silver was present on that one. Definitely subtle but nevertheless notable change there in the color scheme for MS Performance. And yeah, it seems like anyone else, I don't think Oliver Taras, Janssen Bintz or Tön Lure are actually going to set times in this session. They seem content just to get to work in the garage. And 26 times overall have been set there. Andrzejewski there on the bottom there, 18 seconds off the pace. So yeah, again, he just wants to probably figure out the small tweaks he wants for his race setup after qualifying on pole.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just going to be... I'm fairly excited to see how actually this race is going to be planned. There's going to be a lot of mystery to see with how well that these cars will be able to navigate through the Istanbul Park circuits in race. It's one thing to do it for qualifying whenever you have a full track of heady view, but it's to do another whenever you have to follow with the cars behind. And given how close that we've seen through qualifying, especially in that midfield, I think we can probably imagine to see a ton of overtakes throughout, not only just for the feature race but for the sprint race as well. Although the main race will garner the most points, I think we could see more opportunistic moves for race 1 than maybe for race 2, even though as it is always through these Formula Sprint categories, the second race has always been the most chaotic, and I've learned that from the Academy series.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, this opportunity, you really have to rely on racecraft in the race 2 sprints. Knowing that strategy, it's certainly possible to outthink your opponents. We saw that with Andrzejewski, took a gamble and it paid off. on his tire choice, but yeah, you're going to have to be very, very smart to outfox a lot of the drivers in the shorter race twos with reverse grid draws that can play a factor. But yeah, definitely the chaos does ramp up, knowing if you can pick up some valuable points in race one. You got 10th place, for example, and then you have a chance again. If your reverse grid doesn't work out, you've got to push really hard just to try and fight for extra positions. They're worth a healthy amount of points. So yeah, of course, if you weren't here 2 weeks ago, the FS1 point system has changed for this season. So instead of the standard 25 points for a win in race one, you actually get 30. So that's an enormous pot of points to pick up if you can. It makes a huge difference if it is within your reach. And then 25 points for second, 21 points for third, and then it goes down 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the top 15. And in race two, we have 20 points for the winner. So yeah, there's a 10-point swing if you don't win race one, but then you can get back in race two. You pick up 20 points for a win, but there's no fast lap bonus anymore. So it's all about your ability to perform in our races here, Amir. So we will be ready up on our grid in just a moment. So any quick thoughts before we go through our formation lap?
There's going to be absolute pandemonium, I can imagine. But as you've mentioned before, the first race is the one where most of the points are going to be gained. So can probably also see potentially, I think, a lot of interesting decisions here throughout this race. But slowly, we're going to be starting into the grid for what has been the first time in 5 years that the Formula Sprint 1 circus comes over to the glorious country of Turkey. And everything is going to slowly wait for us to see what sort of action we're going to be seeing. But honestly, I cannot tell you how excited I am for this race. I'm so excited, and I think it's going to be probably one of the best races in the calendar, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, great shout. Very early to judge. We had an absolutely incredible ending to China race 2. That's one I hauled in esteem, but of course Menno Clant and Imola race 2, of course we can mention that one forever and ever. But yeah, it's all business now as our drivers are lined up on the grid. They have their signal to get moving for the one preparatory formation lap, and we will get our grid graphics on screen now. We'll talk about all our drivers on the show. So we have Andrzejewski, Roszak in the front row, all Polish lineup. Then Majka and Saracino, third and fourth. So Multiforce 1 and 3, not too shabby. Oliver Taras for Apex GP, they're looking exciting. With Janssen Bintz, Vin Glenn, and Yassi Latinen there, all in order there, 5th through 8th. Massimiliano Raboli and Tomas Smith are your two drivers to complete the top 10. Lucas Tylene and Scott Flack, 11th and 12th. Lorenzo De Cutis has Team Sheba up in 13th, beside Raymond Van Sust for MS Performance. We've Kasper Michalak completing the points, paying positions in 15th. Carl Magnus Bore and Team Iris in 16th. We've Mateusz Gazowski and Mateusz Dabrowski together, Nexium pole team ahead of Hyperion Esports. Frank Hamming disappointing in 19th. We can recover it, as we well know. Menno Plant P20, Tun Luer and Owen Hausvik 21st, 22nd there. Philip Koenig in the other Griffon has 23rd, with Wesley Stefano 24th. LEF Auto Racing 25th and 27th there. De Vries ahead of Gonzalez Green. On the other side, we have Zubinski, Matthew Zubinski, of course, and Tom Lafont in the first 01 esports car. Juho Soppinen 29th there in the second 01. And then the number-based banter will continue with Marcus Christensen in the 100 to 1 in 30th position, as he wants to gain more experience, as he was pretty much laps in both our races in Melbourne. So there's a chance for him to get some more experience under his belt here, Amir.
Yeah, well, he's got a very interesting opportunity here for Istanbul to hopefully for the chance to complete a race, but it's done pretty well for his early showings over in Albert Park, and hope for his fortunes to continue to rise here in Istanbul as slowly the Motorforce cars get onto the grid. He will be starting from pole. Having the inside line heading for turn one would mean that he probably needs to go on the defensive and try to fend off from the second place driver as much as he possibly can now, as the Norwegian will be the last one to join up on the grid. Gonna be a lot to see. There's gonna be a lot of questions here, but they will all slowly come to realization here as the lights go out.
Yeah, so here we go, Christensen in position, so this should give race control to clearance. Here we go, 5 red lights, one at a time, and then they will vanish. And away we go for race 2, and it's a stall there. Looked like could have been Taras, certainly one of the Apex GP cars, in big trouble. So down we go through the first sequence. Andrzejewski looks to hold the lead. Yeah, Roszak and Micah also holding position there, so an absolute nightmare for Taras. He is down already. Thankfully, he's got the car working, and he's not out of contention just yet. Janssen Bintz, this is fabulous work here, Amir. He's already 4th.
That's incredible, though, but Andrzejewski has gotten the dream style he wanted to defend from Rushkat. You see how Rushtek was just attacking there, managed to defend it now, but for Bintz up to 4th, that's incredible there, and he'll be astonishingly happy with that 4th place move now. Now on the attack onto Matka now.
Here we go, through turn 8 for the first time, Raymond Van Soest. Look at that, using everything he's got in his defense against Gozowski. If there was contact there would be tears for sure, but thankfully not. And Pavel about 3/4 of a second clear of Roszak as we head to the final corners to complete lap 1. And yeah, very solid start here for some of these drivers. Perhaps Smith and Flack will have to work together as soon as possible there for overpower. Yeah, Flack on the outside line looking to pick off Riboli. Could try the switch back in the final corner. He'll be on the outside again, making sure no contact. So he's got to try it there, if anything. Get onto the power straight away. And it looks okay, but Taras losing all those positions. He has to try again. But it is lap 2 at 29, so still plenty of time remaining. And there we go, Vin Glenn. He's got HGP's responsibility at the moment with Hamming only 16. So he's gained a few positions from his getaway point. But yeah, not enough to be in the top 15 to get himself a point. Smith now. He's got the inside line for turn 4 now. Can he secure his position? Yeah, it looks like solid pass to me, Amir. So yeah, that is 7th place, and Smith is now rolling.
Pulled it into the outside for turn 3 and just kept it in because he knew he had the inside for 4. Exactly what Thomas Smith needed, and he'll be very proud of that. He gets himself up into 7th. Good points there from Overpower at the moment now. With Andrzejewski now, he still holds on to lead from Rushka. It's only 6/10, but it's exactly what he still needs because, again, it's that second sector that has that dirty iron. Because he is so clean ahead, he can be able to push away as much as he possibly can now. You can just see on the timing screen, it is slowly pulling away, but you can just see that it'll slowly start to wrap back now as we head through the double straight now.
Yeah, and full throttle here, 280 kilometers an hour. Goes the Multiforce driver now, getting down to 3rd gear, 100 kilometers an hour in a blink of an eye. With our top 3 glued together as of right now, we'll definitely get representative times for them as Frank Hamming makes his pass. He's got 15th place. Lorenzo De Cutis has been the unfortunate driver to lose out now. We've had 3 wide here, Amir. This is absolutely insane with Vin Glenn on the high side and Lucas Tylene, who's made an electric start himself. He's now 7th, but he's got to defend. Contact is made and a bit of a ricochet effect, and that's caused the overpower to get loose. And Vin Glenn spins. He's almost hit his teammate there. Oh, no. That's one of the LEFs. That could have been, would it have been De Vries? Might have been De Vries, yeah. De Vries hit Vin Glenn.
Wow. Oh my word. That was such a violent crash, and I don't think he even expected it, but that was just coming off from the 3 wide here. You can see, I think someone was just way too opportunistic heading into turn 1. Yeah, it was Smith, carried way too much speed. And then, as you mentioned before, it was a ricochet effect. One thing affected onto the other. And yeah, just over ahead, my word. My word, that is so much damage. I don't
Yeah,
think
we'll
Sven
now
was
get a closer look from
coming
De
out.
Vries's perspective, yeah, so that you can see the overpower. But then all of a sudden on his left-hand side, there's the stricken HGP. And yeah, he just had a very difficult dilemma just to suddenly appear. Unfortunately, it just failed badly for him, and he's out of the race. 3 cars are out, so Team Iris have lost Lure. So Lure out of the showing already. And that's a disappointment for Team Iris, but they still have Bore in P14, so not the end of the world for our Greek team just yet. Yeah, our top 5 is still pretty stable. Janssen Bintz, very, very impressive for him, getting ahead of several drivers in the opening going. There you go, +2 for him. Tylene +4, and Mateusz Gazowski with a fabulous 7, and then Frank Hamming, he definitely benefited from that carnage that took his teammate down. He's +8.
It's unfortunate there for the team, but I'm sure he'll be very happy to have still come up alive and running now, as now it's going to be a battle between him and Gazuski now to see who can climb even up more positions. Koenig as well, also a good improvement for him. He's up +7 as well too. So it's very interesting to see that we've still only, with 4 out of 29, that we've already seen such massive positions gained already. But that is just, wow, that lap was so carnage. I was actually surprised.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a slow car to Sven's right, and then he turns up to the left. He ends up making huge contact, so he's out of the race. Overpower will be separated now with Smith. Of course, he's getting knocked down, but he's still running. As he was just spun around, he wasn't giving any real damage, but it's Flack. He's going to power as hard as he can now. Should potentially get pushed to pass opportunity. Massimiliano Raboli watching, and he will have to concede for the moment here. And Saracino has made his way past Janssen Bintz for P4, so this is a great start to the campaign for Team Sheba's recruit Saracino. Here's Menno Klein, currently 19th. He's giving Owen Phil Hausvik a bit of a battle now as we head side by side, and the journey continues here. Janssen doesn't want to give up this position at all, and that means Latinen's in play. So Latinen for Apex Grand Prix is going to get right in the action here and give Apex a real shot in the arm, as they want to pick up a lot of points themselves.
Saracino, though, brilliant defending from him. Really doesn't want to lose that 4th place, as you mentioned. But Vince knows he needs to make the move as soon as he can. Otherwise, he's coming under pressure from Latinen. It just goes a little bit wide coming out for that corner now. And that's going to put him under great attack from the Finnish driver now as they head through turn 8 now. It's got that dirty air that will help him push away just a bit, though. And now everything starts to settle down, but it comes for that straight. And then suddenly that for 9 and 10. But still, good defending there from Saracino, though, to hold on to P4, though.
Yeah, well done to Giuseppe. He made the pass and then he defended it resolutely, it has to be said. And now on board with Latinen. We'll see now. He's got stable track in front of him now as they run on the Prix. Is a bit interrupted there with turn 11. It's very gentle. You can go flat out. But now down the inside and a bit too over enthusiastic. Vince loses control of the rear end. He's now back in a straight line. Well, that's a freebie for Latinen. And Tylene is now ready to approach, and you just do not mess with Lucas Tylene. The super Swede will take any opportunity he gets. But watch out, Scott Flack. Don't do what we saw just a moment ago with the 3 wide.
No,
leave them to do it.
Yeah, he's conceded a bit. Oh, he's got pushed off wide a bit. He's maybe trying to think about going 3 wide. No, he doesn't. Just about holds it back though. But Vince, meanwhile, he's coming under a lot of pressure though. Might lose 2 positions here, but Flack still just about holds back from it still. Oh God, I nearly thought he was going to make a move down there, but he just about holds off. My God. But yeah, it's really unfortunate there for Vince, I must say, to lose 3 positions, but I think Flack might actually come off a little bit worse because he's having that under attack now. He's back into Messi and Emiliano, so my God, that was I was clenching my toes there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, there's certainly more where that came from. I doubt any of these drivers are going to be wilting flowers. They want to keep pushing, knowing how important it is to continue or start their season after struggles in Melbourne. It could be one or the other, or a bit in between. But now we have a big queue of cars as the battle for fourth place looked to be 2 drivers going head-to-head. Then it became 3. But now on board with Scott Flack is going to take the high side, and Pixel 8 will be shouting down the microphones to make sure their 2 drivers are A-okay, as they both have to deal with opposition in a big fight. We have the Nexium Pole team, Gazowski. Here he is on the battle with Hamming behind him as an example. So yeah, he wants to pass Riboli down the inside of 12, but now he'll try and think about it again. It's turn 1, but it just wasn't to be. But now with Frank Hamming making plenty of positions up from his qualifying position, you just have to realize, yeah, this may be the time to think about strategy and when you're going to pit and how much tire life you can risk losing each and every lap until your time to come into pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just, I think a lot of people have been so heavy with the aggressive racing. I don't think many of them may maybe even consider for the long run on, tires. And I think everyone is just probably using as much tire life as they possibly can here, because again, it's from this nature here, from the circuit, that conserving tires just means you're going to sacrifice, I think, too much speed. So I think everyone is pretty much in the same boat, to be honest with you. Apart from maybe the people that are ahead because they've not been involved in a lot of overtaking action. So less deviation away from the race line, therefore less wear on the tires. So for that case, you can expect to see the midfield, I think, to pit a lot, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it would be exceptional to fit in 2 tire stops in 29 laps. Wouldn't be ideal, but maybe it could come to that for 1 or 2 drivers who may think something is going crazy. But yeah, you do have to make sure you balance your choice of compounds. You can't just be soft and do whatever you like. And Jacusa's here. What he can think to do against Van Soest. Raymond makes his one defensive move, and thankfully Lorenzo reacted in time, so there wasn't any more contact, but he powers by and completes the pass for Team Shiba, and that is 12th position for him. You can just see on the timing screen, yeah, a very popular choice is the soft tire. Everyone from 21st down to 26th were on the harder compound, but Smith has pitted very early, Amir, so that could be an example of perhaps repairing a bit of damage, as well as perhaps going full push. Now you can change compound.
Yeah, he dropped a lot ever since he's gotten that damage through turn 1. So it is repairing the damage as well, otherwise he would have been just dropping so many more positions. But now, again, he's got the chance to push as much as it possibly can, and the clean air too, so it does may put a bit of advantage for the overpower car. Maybe a chance to rescue some points.
Yeah, going to count on Scott Flack for the time being, with Tomas doing something off the beaten track. So how that works out for overpower, they have to wait and see what happens. But Carl Magnus Bore, he's got all the responsibility for Team Iris in this feature race, and he'll try his best to get the move on Van Soest. Ooh, that's so close, and yeah, contact is made, and he's gone around 180 degrees. I'm afraid he has to do a burnout just to recover it, and therefore it's a double point now for Griffon. Just what the doctor ordered. They both drivers in the points, with Koenig getting into 15th, just behind Kasper Michalak. So yeah, Griffon, all of a sudden, after their miserable Melbourne, they now have 2 drivers in the points, and they can work together with Van Soest, who was just defending. I think he was just doing his utmost, and Bore just made the contact at the wrong time for him. So just unfortunate racing incident, but Bore suffers the wrath.
Yeah, it's way too. I think he's just wasn't quite close enough and tried to be a bit too accelerator happy coming out of turn 13, but didn't kind of work for Bore in the end. And with that, I think a bit too impatient to make that move. I think he comes off worst of it though. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I was gonna say if we were cursed, but no, because Griffon is within the double points. So we're half cursed, everyone. We're just half cursed.
Yeah, a little bit of a curse, but yeah, we'll do our best just to undo the commentators' hoodoo here, as we are almost towards lap 10. The leaders are now heading to the finish line to get lap 10 running. And yeah, it's still the top 3 as you were. There's been no deviation in their order. They're probably trying to flex their brain cells to make sure they can think of something to pull off in the pit lane, because at the moment they're just not close enough to each other. They will be lapping identical times much of this stage. 132s for Andrzejewski and Roszak. Actually, Micah was a bit slower that last lap, and 133 dead. So he lost a little bit of time there, but he can certainly recover it if he can get back to action this lap. But with Giuseppe Saracino, he's very quick. He's definitely one of the fastest drivers on circuit at the moment here, Amir. So let's not discount his chances either for Team Sheba.
No, absolutely not. He's got a very good chance to potentially climb back up, maybe into the podium, because Maka has been a bit struggling just a little bit with those tires. 6 tenths faster on the previous lap, though, for Saracino in comparison to Maka, I must say. But Andrzejewski, though, meanwhile, looking on him, like a full second faster in the fastest lap than second place. He's doing absolute wonders with that Multiforce car, and honestly, I think it's his race to lose, to be honest, because he's got just about enough of a comfortable deficit to Rushka that he can preserve the push to pass and just use it for defense from him. So I think it really is Pavel's race to lose, to be honest, as now with Menno Clant riding with him, looking out to see him move and defend from Stefano, coming through the third final sector now. Still a bunch is holding in. A lot of people are, there we go, we see a lot of people that are coming into the pits now for lap 11. Yeah, those softs are definitely have been wearing off now, so we're going to track their progress to see where exactly they'll come off now, because I imagine they'll be putting on, I think, maybe the hard compounds. I think the hard compounds might be the best here for this situation. Yeah, because the mediums are going to probably burn out way too fast here for this sort of nature of track. So it's going to be interesting to see how all this can develop later on. But as it stands, like a good percentage of the field have now pit. I'll say more or less a third. So we'll track their progress and we'll see if that undercut might work for them, because gotta keep on track in comparison to all the other ones that have yet to pit. But yeah, pit window I think is effectively open at this point on.
100% Amir, and yeah, in fairness, I don't think we have the medium compound here in FS1. It's just softs and hards. So yeah, that's the balancing act. You have 2 compounds for dry conditions to choose from. So we'll see there on the chart, you can see Dabrowski is the highest running hard tire runner. But yeah, we will certainly monitor those drivers who come into the pits, like Michalak, for example. But yeah, the more drivers that pit in the midfield, it's even better news for Pavel Andrzejewski, as Micah decides to take the gamble first. So my point was, midfielders pit before the leaders do. That gives Andrzejewski more open track to potentially rejoin into. So we'll monitor Micah's pit stop time and see how far back he will be, knowing that likely Pavel and Patrick have to react straight away, or maybe lap 13 at the absolute most. You see Scott Flack and Massimiliano Raboli coming into the pits as well. So Micah getting the revs built up, and he will change over straight onto the yellow striped hard tires. So yeah, keeping within our pit exit line there, and he's 15, so yeah, lots of spare track for him now to work with before he joins that huge gaggle of opponents from Gozowski down to Phil Hausvik. So 100 to 1 here, maybe feeling a bit glum after qualifying. They've got their star man Phil Hausvik currently sitting in the points. So Ed Hunter in our chat pointed that out nice and efficiently. So yeah, we'll keep plenty of eyes out. I hope our YouTube viewers and chatters are having a good time so far, so we'll keep more input for our chat as well, see how they feel about the race heading to its halfway point.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everyone in the YouTube chat. Hope you're all doing well for this great, fantastic racing. See there, though, Vushkak just catch up ever so slightly now to Andrzejewski now. It's now down to 3 tenths. I think it might be a bit of that push to pass. They're both now heading into the pits now. So keep an eye out for Gozowski now, because he was the one that just pit earlier for the hard compounds. So we're going to see whether he managed to muster anything with that one lap on the hards, as we see with the Nexium and the Multiforce pit crews getting ready.
Yeah, so Nexium Paul team very high up in the pit lane towards the top, where you can see a lot more of what's going in front of you, whereas Pavel's down the very bottom, so he's got to get right on the accelerators more drivers pit. So yeah, this is great news for Mike if this undercut pays off, and it looks like it has. He's going to be neck and neck with his teammate, and he is the gross leader. He's not quite the net leader because Frank Hamming, Lorenzo de Cutis, Raymond van Sust, and Owen Kilhousick and Koenig have gone longer. But Micah has taken the lead with that expertly timed undercut, but he's got to worry about those drivers battling for a legitimate position in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that he's on one lap used hards, it means that it's going to be a little bit harder for him to defend now from those ones, because you can just see that maybe that times will be a little bit faster coming through that second sector. But again, he's got that air, clean air for that second sector as well, once those guys do pit ahead of him as well. So going to be interesting to see how this develops between Maka and Jaziski though.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely fascinating. Yeah, David Junt makes the pun. What happens if we go pole vaulting here? So yeah, these Polish drivers all have to get leaping as best they can through the strategy pack here, heading into the final complex. So yeah, they're up to maximum speed there, about 200 kilometers an hour or so, just before the braking zone, 250. So there you go. They're all ducking the pit lane. Head-to-head battle here with Van Sust, Kilhousick and Koenig there, as well as Hamming and de Cutis, of course. So they're all in the pits. So it opens up the space now for Multiforce as they bid to pull even further clear in the Teams Championship. What order their drivers will finish in, that's the question, of course. Patrick Roszak losing out on strategy there, down a position with Micah leapfrogging the two opponents here. And Dabrowski, P4 on the harder. He's going a bit longer now. And yeah, Hyperion hoping for a huge overcut into the end of the race. Similarly enough, Gonzalez Green for LEF, the sole remaining LEF car, has P6 at the moment. So let's see how further he can get into the stint. Perhaps another 2 or 3 laps would be ideal, because we saw 11 laps on softs. It was a good range. And here's a replay from pit lane where we see Van Sust in the MS Performance. What exactly happened here? Oh, he's got the Griffon on one side and the 100-to-1 on the other. They've made contact. I didn't spot that. Oh, that's devastating. That is devastating. But Griffon, yeah, I think will be a little bit blessed that they got the better end of that. So Van Sust, after getting a pit stop done, now has to get his front wing changed. Oh, that is so frustrating.
Extra lap, but it's just someone had to yield away, as you're right. So someone had to yield away there from that place, and it just came off worst of it though. But look at this, how this is developing though, with just more than halfway through the race left to go. This is going to be very exciting here. A 3-car battle for the lead of the Turkish Grand Prix feature race here in the FS1. Maka's got a lot to do to defend from these new tire runners from Andrzejewski and Ruszka.
Yeah, Roszak here, he's certainly more confident now on the fresher tires. The sun wasn't quite shining as much. It was a bit of a dull sky despite the high temperature, but now it's very, very sunny, with the track temperature now up to 37 degrees. That is a prime example of the tire being put under a lot of stress. And Saracino completed the fastest lap on our last go around, so 131.4, getting him very well set up in his battle. But of course Dabrowski won't be too fussed about what's going on. He has his own race to think about. And Saracino here, what can he do? Perhaps turn 12 is the ideal overtaking point, but Dabrowski of course will want to pit, so it's a dilemma of course. Dabrowski, if he slows down for turn 12 just to let this Team Sheba car ahead, he will lose a bit of time. But if he battles, he won't be able to enter the pits here, Amir. So let's see what he decides to do. And it is, alas, it's a great send there for Giuseppe, and he has his 4th position straight back.
What?
And it didn't really matter there. Dabrowski is happy to stay out on his tires for another lap.
Okay, that's pretty rather surprising, but it did pretty well to defend from Saracino as much as he can, but just with that dive bomb effectively gets himself back up to 4th. But I think might possibly, if these three continue to barrel on for the rest of the race, which might happen, then there's a possibility for Saracino to climb his way up, and maybe make it a 4-car battle for the lead potentially. But it all depends on how well that Team Sheba can do on that clean air ahead. But he has been setting fast laps, so anything can happen as long as he continues on with that momentum. I think the Italian might have a good chance, to be honest.
Yeah, I certainly believe he can look up rather than having to worry about what's going behind him. He's pulled out a strong advantage on the interval there. Dabrowski and Gonzalez Green set to pit. It's Latinen who will want to jump up into 5th, and he has a bit of a gap there over Zabinski, about 2 seconds worth there, up to 3 seconds now. So yeah, he's definitely very quick. But those other drivers who want to compete for these top points and maybe get reverse grid Paul, Tylene, Flack, and Binz, for example, they want to get moving as quick as possible. Now, speak of the super sweet, and here he is. He's got Zubinski to worry about, so on the inside line, potentially, could be the number 44. No, he decides to stick in the wake here of the KK or esports car for the moment. Maybe a chance could appear later in the lap. We'll compare their lap times in just a moment, just see how they get on. And the American Gonzalez Green comes in for a pit stop. So yeah, LEF and Lorenzo Terovich Funcic, they'll be cheering him on, see how he gets on for his final stint. He's set up well to push on soft tire to the end of this race, so let's see how they get on.
With everyone else running hard, it's going to be a good advantage for Gonzalez to make a charge up through the field. So going to be fairly interested to see that happens. Magnus Borre, running with him, has done very well to recover after from his spin, was down in 23rd, but it's now up into 19th. Still with that momentum to be able to continue on, he'll be able to maybe get a point perhaps with just like about 12 laps to go. I think it's all doable for the Team Irish driver.
Yeah, this is definitely a chance to work hard, but of course Hyperion prefer this long stint on hards or going on soft to the end of the race. Scott Flack, what can he do now to try and move aside Mr. Zubinski here? Let's see. But of course, Janssen Binz in the pixelate is watching with great interest. And let's see, side by side now, before the breaking point for turn 12 can even come up. This should be advantage to Flack. And Binz is watching on, and he wants to get through with a lot of aggression here. Has to stay high. Zubinski carries on a bit longer, and he's starting to wiggle there. Thank goodness he was able to recover the slide and carry on. But Dabrowski pits first, so Hyperion will get their data via Dabrowski. And their hopes of a double point scoring finish. They've got to nail every lap here, Amir, or else this strategy will be for naught.
Yeah, absolutely. It just needs to completely use up those tires as much as we can now with 11 laps. We've seen people pit on lap 11. That's whenever we see the early signs of the people that completely depleted their softs. So he needs to do exactly what those drivers did earlier on and do that for the remaining laps on this race. And just maybe Hyperion might be able to score a double points finish here in the first race, which more points here are offered than in the second race. So it's going to be all in Dabrowski's hands now, and all Zubinski just needs to do is just try to defend as much as he possibly can now from Kozlowski and Hamming as well. But actually, he's got a bit of a worse exit now, and that will allow for Hamming now to go a little bit now with the slipstream now straight through turn 9, though. He's going to try and make a move. Doesn't, just about holds back now. Through 9 and 10 they go. And actually, I think Kozlowski's made the overtake on Macker for the lead.
Excellent spot there. The timing tower just had a flicker there on the top left of my screen, at least, and it is a lead change back to Pavel Andrzejewski's favour. Hamming down the inside bravely, he makes contact, and there we go. The domino effect has sent Zubinski into a spin, and he's hit. I think that's that would be that could be the cutest, and they're all going into the pits now.
Yep.
Oh dear.
That's Hyperion's chances of a double point is over, but I think it was. I'm not entirely sure if they moved on the braking from Bully, right? So I don't know if it was entirely moving under the braking that may have caused it, but that was just effectively got squeezed. There wasn't much that he can do to just lift and, eventually come off with it. We're going to see the replay here. Going to see exactly what has happened. It's just 3 wide coming through that final sector now, and see where that car just breaks. It's the slightest of nudges and a bit of a clumsy rejoin onto the racing line, and that effectively took off his front wing and Ribo Lully's race as well.
Yeah, totally out of Massimiliano's control there. He was just following the regular racing line. Hyperion, that's unraveled for them. But Dabrowski, 18th at the minute. He's got Kwiatkowski for competition. We'll probably see them getting into a duel very soon. Zubinski rejoining. He'll be ahead of Christensen anyway, but otherwise he's well out of reach of any points as of right now. So that's a great pity. Just one of those things. Going longer means the drivers who pit earlier are going to be quicker for quite a few laps before it's your turn. So here's Takuta. So he's doing okay for Team Shiba in their bid to get a very healthy double score here. So his pursuit of Frank Hamming. Can you find a way back into a contest with him, or else that will be Gazowski for pole team in 9th. So yeah, again, plenty of strong performers here for the double score for Nexium pole team and Team Shiba. Here's Scott Flack, who wants to get overpowered. Their points for today with Thomas Smith down in 22nd at the current running. So we're now on board with our Australian driver here, getting down to 3rd gear, 130 kilometers an hour, watching with intent on Vince's slide there. He looks okay now. Turn 8, which will he go? Yeah, he hooks the inside a bit more there. It's good to see the contrasting lines. And yeah, this will be a 1-to-1 battle for the moment with Gazowski just a little bit behind. Be within striking distance just just now. And yeah, looks like Vince comparing sector times. We'll see sector 2 come up now. 32.8 versus 32.9, so it is a better lap for Vince at the moment, which gives him his about half a second advantage for the moment here, Amir.
Yeah, but it's got that slipstream for the double ones that allows for Flack to continue to apply the pressure now as the attention now draws towards the leaders. Maka is still not quite catching up to Andrzejewski at the moment, but Rushka is still applying the pressure onto both the Alpha Force drivers though, so it's still not quite easy goings. And for that, I think the Malta Force Grand Prix would imagine to try not to risk it, not to try to fight it, try and bring home another 1-2 for the team, and carry through that momentum onto the next race as well. I think that's probably what's going to be going on both of their drivers' minds at the moment, because if they attack now, it's just going to allow for Rushka to maybe capitalize, as I think they're slowly coming over to Christensen, I believe.
Yeah, Christensen will be lapped here. So it is just +1 lap on his score, so the blue flags will be out.
Ooh.
Oh, move, yeah, he can stay where he is now. So yeah, thank goodness he was able to adapt to that slide and make sure he can get out of the way. So yeah, blue flag orders, gets the 100-to-1 driver out of the way. But certainly Rorschach could be encouraged by that, because it does mean those teammates are very close together, and you can play a few mind games just to try and divide and conquer. So
yeah, I was wondering if Andrzejewski had to lift a little bit just coming out through turn 11, turn 9 or 10, I wonder, and maybe that might have allowed for Matic to get even more closer now, and in turn Rorschach as well. So head through turn 1 now. That means that Andrzejewski is now going to be under even more pressure now from his teammate and from Patrick as well. So it's just going to be interesting to see how well he'll be able to fare that off, but he's still in the lead, and he's still be able to pull that off through the second sector. Again, still ahead, still has that clean air, so still going to be up into his advantage. But with that straights, though, they're still going to be able to worm it back in. I'm not entirely sure in regards to their pass to overtake management, but I think for all 3 of these drivers, they haven't completely used it up yet, but haven't been so far ahead. So with the closing stages, we could probably see them using a lot to attack and to defend.
Yeah, precisely. It's very useful to have the push to pass in reserve right now, as opposed to burning it up very early and not seeing the future, what it will hold. So now that we do have a rough guide about how this race can end, it's a three-way battle for victory, with Saracino 4 seconds behind, and then the pack, Latinen of course on his own, they're 10 seconds behind. Then there's a big pack behind Tylene, so Binz, Flack, Gazowski and Decutus all in the top 10. They could all compete for positions. And then of course just outside the points, we have the chances for Dabrowski and Gonzalez Green to perhaps overhaul, so they are in a shout with Koenig and Stefano all trying to defend. So yeah, very sort of precarious situation for these drivers if they don't turn outrageous. So yeah, here we go. Here, speaking of Dabrowski, here's his chance. Let's see if he can actually use a good slipstream, or maybe even push the pass to make his move and get himself a point for Hyperion, taken away from Grifone and their thus far empty-handed Ali. They're not looking at any points if Koenig loses out here. Yeah, this is a big pressure situation.
Yep, just applying through the pressure through the second sector now. Dabrowski really wants to try and get that last point scoring position now, and to recover what Hyperion probably would have maybe able to gain with both cars finishing on the points. The way it stands, they'll finish with nothing unless if Dabrowski can muster something to make an overtake on Koenig. So it's curious to see, because again, they've waited until the very last moment to put their drivers onto the softs now, and hopefully they'll be able to capitalize it now. Going for turn 8, he's got a better run now in comparison to Koenig now. Might make the move, not quite. Yeah, he's not close enough for turns 9 and 10 now, but he just needs to keep it up as much as he can and put his foot down. Doesn't want to get lift off too much, otherwise Gonzalez Green might be able to capitalize as well as they head through turn 11 now, using a bit of that slipstream. Might use the push to pass as well if he ever feels like it now. Bit of the slipstream now. Oh, he's trying to go ahead and defend now. It's almost going to be 3 right. He might make a double overtake now. Oh, he slides just a little bit now, going for turn 12, and I think just the
no.
That is so close. He just about saves it though. Koenig goes up into 14th, and Dabrowski still in 15th, still holds just about behind, and now he's going to try and make a move now, heading to turn 1 now. Absolute pandemonium here. Through turn 1 he goes, but no, not quite enough, not close enough. Koenig though gets a little bit of the bed line, just a bit on the wheels, a little bit on the track extending, but I think he should be fine now. Dabrowski is still putting the pressure now, heading for turn 3. Down to through turn 3 he goes, and I think he might be just to be able to hold it. If he just keeps holding to the outside line, he might be able to get the inside line. No, he doesn't. He just lost it a bit, and that will allow. My word, what an overtake from Gonzalez Green. He gets himself up to maybe 5th. No, he doesn't. He's not quite close enough with the speed, although he might look for a dive ball through the corner. This is exciting racing on the closing stages of the race, and Gonzalez Green gets about and clinches that last point scoring position that Dabrowski really wanted. Heads through turn 8 now, and that concludes, at least for the time being, a brilliant racing moment.
Yeah, what must Wesley Stefano be thinking? He, did nothing wrong, and yet he wound up being overtaken by everybody. So yeah, just got caught out with the exceptional dive there by Dabrowski. So he probably didn't know what was coming, but alas, yeah, the contact did occur, and now poor old Wesley is stuck in 17th without a point. MS Performance would have been on top of the world this time 12 months ago with Victor Ivanov, but now they're without any scoring point scoring positions at the minute. So there's still a little bit of time left, lap 25 for the leaders. And now Gonzalez Green, he wants to get everything that he possibly can out of this race, and he'll take the high line against Koenig, the experienced Philip Koenig. Not quite this time, but so close. Let's see now, the run for turn 4 is coming, and yeah, look at Koenig defending with everything he has in reserve. The switchback could be a chance to do it. No, not quite this time. But yeah, we've Carl Magnus Bore and Don Kvahausvik entering the fray here. You can see them in the back of your screens now. So we've 6 cars all vying for 2 points or just the 1, with 14th and 15th at stake.
just see with Gonzalez Green having that front wing just a little bit from turn one as the sliders have touched us now, as attention out towards Kozak now, making a move almost onto Maka for P2, and still the Motorforce drivers are still holding on to their 1-2. They really want to bring it to the Turkish Grand Prix with another 1-2 under their belt. Horaska is really trying to hope to end their parade and still applying that pressure onto Maka, but my word, he's still just about defense. Absolutely brilliant though. But Rushka just really wants to end the parade now, looking for that slipstream now for turn 3, but still just about no, holds it back for now. But that was a very good attempt for Patrick. It's still putting pressure onto the Motorforce driver still, but still to no avail, and they're not budging still quite yet. But still 3 laps to go, anything can happen.
Without a doubt, yeah. So this is where Patrick needs to think of something like going for the win. Will be very difficult, knowing the teammates will surely have a pact just to say, look, it's better that one of us wins than neither of us. But yeah, Patrick, I think Ed asked in the chat when was his last podium. Was it a year ago? Just looking at his screen here, I think it was Bahrain 2023, so this time 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't see any podiums from with Parallax Volpino last season, but when it was built in Volpino, we did get a podium. So hopefully that answers your question, Ed, as we head towards the end of the frantic race 1 here around Istanbul Park. And yeah, it's all about these 3 drivers in terms of the podium. Giuseppe Saracino just a little bit too far back at the moment. He will need something special to catch up, but yeah, the next Pole team, they'll be ushering Patrick on just to say you can get second place in this race at the very least. You just got to pick your moment and try and frighten those Motorforce drivers. We now change tact. It's Lorenzo De Cutis into 9th position. He's gained on Scott Flack. Nearly a bit of contact there as Frank Hamming wants to enter the top 10, giving himself a shot at a reverse grid drop. Pole position, it goes down to 10th position, as high as 6. So 6th to 10th are on the bubble for a reverse grid pole draw. It all depends which number comes out with the drum. And Frank Hamming does have his 10th place. So Scott Flack, his stamina just wearing down at the worst time. And these other drivers have taken full advantage.
God, that was an absolute gamble, my word. But still, Hamming just about hands off from Flack though. And that was a really good attempt, I must say, from Flack to try and get into that P10, but still nothing quite just yet. But really good there from Frank, I must say. Still closing stages, and there's still a lot of chances we can see position changes here right down to the very dying moments here, as I'm pretty sure I know Hamming will definitely want to be able to catch up to Cutis. So yeah, just 2 laps left to go. Yeah,
Patrick, has he been saving the tires till the very last to give himself a shot? So here's an action replay here of what happened between Gonzalez Green and Koenig. So here we go. Philip, oh, he's just gone wide. Just lost all grip there, and that tumbles him down to P19 and well out of the points at this stage. So it is Matthew Dabrowski there. No, that's unlucky. Marcus Christensen out of the race, trying his best just to see the checkered flag like he did after being several laps down in both our events in Melbourne. He is now out after a single car accident, and he will not get to enjoy the checkered flag. But yeah, completed 90% distance, give or take. So yeah, he'll have to try again in our sprint. Here we go now, penultimate lap for our drivers. It's still Andrzejewski in the lead after he regained it when Micah had the superior undercut that gave him a shot at winning this race. But alas, Paul Sitter is back in control for the moment. But yeah, maybe Micah, with his FS2 championship in his cabinet, he will believe in himself. He knows how to win several races. He knows he's doing it. Of course, just as recently as his debut, his very first race was a victory. So he has that knowledge and that confidence to go for the win in the famous number 14. Let's see if he can line himself up for a shot at his teammate. But Pavel, in control thus far, could go back to back from the race 2 in Melbourne to today. He's 1 lap away from completing that feat, But Patrick Roszak, P3, does he have it? And we'll compare lap times as they cross the line for the 1 to go signal. 1:32s for both the multi-forces, just a tenth of a second apart there. Don't see Patrick's lap time here on race view, but it must have been pretty close. Bore has a shot at 16th if Wesley Stefano can do nothing. Let's see, he's certainly defending well thus far. And Dabrowski and Gonzalez Green, both our drivers on soft tires at the minute after starting on the hards. They're going head to head for a chance to go 2 points or 1. They are the favourites to split the pot, but Dabrowski here in 14th still has the impetus after making that overtake. But Gonzalez Green will have a few more chances before the day is done here, Amir. But let's try and balance all these different narratives and weave them together to complete this race 1.
Yeah, Dabrowski, I think, has just about scored his 2 points. And I think for the tension towards the front, I think Andrzejewski has just about pulled enough from Maka now to continue on to get his second race win here in the championship now. He is way too far ahead now. Elber through turn 11. It's just the final 3 corners left for the Polish driver to get another race win this year.
2 corners to go. He's got the hard-braking point down. The slow right-hander into the final left. Yeah, he's tempering the throttle, and he's lost a bit of control in a bit. It certainly caught me off guard. I think he knew what he was doing there. But Pavel then gets into a nice slalom just to complete the feat. Yeah, he pulled the wool over my eyes there. I thought he lost a bit of traction, but yeah, sorry for frightening everybody else with the pop there. It just looked like from that camera angle he maybe misjudged it, but no, that was perfectly judged. He knew what he was doing, so he wins race 1. Matthews Micah second place, and Roszak completes the podium for Poland there, and that is a fabulous drive from the 3 of them. But Pavel was able to use his own track nous to conquer superior strategy, at least with the undercut giving Micah that little bit extra time. Saracino and Latinen there in the top 5 to complete the day, and Dabrowski beats Gonzalez Green for the final point. So we'll summarise everything properly in just a moment. But Amir, you were looking forward to this race. Was it to your expectations?
Absolutely, it 100% delivered. We've got maybe the repeat winners, but it was no feat for them to be able to fend off from that 1-2. But talk about Roszak though. It's got his first podium since 2023 back in Bahrain, and he'll be very happy he's got another podium onto his books now. He'll be hoping to continue on with that momentum, not just for him, but also for Nexium. And he comes into the next race with probably all smiles and all high hopes. So I'm really, really proud here for Patrick. Good there from Saracino as well. He pitted just a little bit late, but he managed to recover up to a very decent 4th. And Dabrowski picking up the pieces from where Hyperion left off, with finishing off in P14 would be pretty good for him onto his books. But absolutely, definitely delivered. And what awaits for us is carnage for the next race. You can go through the finishing results for race 1.
Yeah, not a bother at all. So it is Andrzejewski, Micah and Roszak on the podium. It's yet another 1-2 from Altaforce, so their 7-year wait for the title. They don't want to do that ever again. They want to go back to back, and thus far, with well over 100 points at this stage, they are dominant thus far in the championship. Roszak there, of course, in P3 gets Nexium Pole team really up and running now, as they were 12th and 10th between them in the Melbourne weekend. But now let's talk the top 10. It's Giuseppe Saracino there. Very impressive race by himself there, P4. Yassi Latinen, Lucas Tylene, Janssen Bintz, and Matthews Kozowski there. They were all pretty close to one another. They get 5th through 8th. Then we saw Lorenzo De Cusa's peaking at just the right time to secure 9th place, with Frank Hamming securing a P10, making sure he's eligible for potential reverse grid pole. Scott Flack missing out there, but P11, not too bad. That's a dose of 5 points. Then we've Oliver Taras, Menno Klont, a very quiet race for Menno, but he got himself P13 and 3 points. Matthias Dabrowski and Alexander Gonzalez Green put on a beautiful show there on their hard to soft strategy, but it was Matthias Dabrowski getting the better there. Carl Magnus Bore getting back as best he can for Team Irish, but just missing out on points. 100 to 1, still stuck on 0 there, but it's getting closer for Eoin in 17th place. Philip Koenig there, he lost the control of his car at turn 13, so he only gets 18th. Wesley Stefano almost got points himself, but it's 19th for him. And then we begin 0-1 Esports. Juho Soppinen 20th there, so 0-1 fought back from quite low on the grid, but they get a 20th place finish. Massimiliano Raboli, another driver feeling that race got away from him. He found a car in his way all of a sudden, so he had to repair damage. Thomas Smith, 22nd place, unlucky without a doubt. Tom Lafont, didn't get to talk about him much at all. He's down in 23rd. Kasper Michalak and Grafone, 24th there, not what they planned for. Neither was a 25th on Zubinski's mind there after he picked up damage. Marcus Christensen crashed out by himself, already blue flagged for being caught by the leaders. He did not get to see the finish line. Raymond Van Sust with that pit lane incident, P27. And then we had the carnage between Sven De Vries and Vin Glenn, two drivers who would have liked to have been competing for those points. And then Tin Lower barely got much showing at all. He retired very early into the race, Amir. But yeah, I think that was a very breathless race. It's time to give ourselves a little bit of a reprieve with Remco and take a quick break. But stay tuned for Reverse Grid, Draw, and the sprint race coming up. Welcome back, everybody. Istanbul Park will be raring to go for a second sprint race in just a moment. But Amir Oates beside me as a substitute for Alex Hallows. It is reverse grid draw success for Nexium pole team because Matthews Dabrowski has gotten himself the pole.
Yep, really good showing there from Nexium. I think yeah, he's going to be very happy with that from finishing off in P8 and now will start on pole. He's shown he's got the pace to be able within the midfield. And, you know, given that what we've seen from the leaders, finding it a little bit hard to overtake and done very well to defend, there's good potential that he may be able to translate over into a race win or not, then a very, very strong podium contention for the reverse race. But do keep an eye out for the people that led ahead. The multi-force drivers, I'm pretty sure, would be looking to continue on to their 100% podium streak coming out of Albert Park, and they're going to hope to translate that over into the race. But it's going to take a lot of overtaking and a good amount of strategy to look after the car to bring it into that podium contention. But we'll see, because it is still just 10 laps shy. So expect some very aggressive and deep, really aggressive maneuvers and very aggressive tire degradation, I think, for these race. It's just going to be completely very interesting. And if anything, that Albert Park has showed us is that race 2 always seems to be the most hectic of the races, huh?
Without a doubt. So yeah, Mateusz Kozłowski has not had a podium even in any of his attempts in Formula Sprint 1, dating back to his part-time season in 2021. He got 4 runs for PZZW. Then he was full-time driver for Hyperion 2 years ago, with his best results back then, I think it was an 8th place in San Marino. Then he got some better results when he was part-time. He was relegated to part-time. And again, San Marino, or Emilia-Romagna, Imola, was his best track with a P5. So unfortunately, he won't be able to rely on that one this year. So it's up to him to see if Turkey will be his new best friend from pole position, as the reverse grid draw came his way. So Nexium pole team for Patrick Roszak with the P3. This is another great opportunity for the team to grab more valuable points and get moving up the championship after they picked up 10 points back in Melbourne. So yeah, great opportunity for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Given that they're a new team as well, want to start off strong. Having been in Albert Park, they have done pretty decent, but here in Istanbul, they have really found their silver lining here with their first podium. Now on to the accolades now. With him starting on pole now, there's a potential to make that into a double podium or potentially a race win, but it's going to be interesting to see how the race will pan out with him starting in pole position as we slowly look through to the grid.
Yeah, our formation lap shall begin. It's the reverse grid pole for Mateusz Kozłowski and Nexium pole team looking for more podiums. Janssen Bintz P2 there with Lucas Tylene and Yassi Latinen completing the second row. Giuseppe Saracino, 4th place in race 1, now has a 5th place on the grid with Patrick Roszak now ahead of the multi-force duo, with Micah ahead of Andrzejewski. Team Shiba and Lorenzo De Cutis, they've got 9th place for him. They're not quite able to benefit from the reverse grid draw. Same for Frank Hamming in 10th. Scott Flack of Australia in 11th, with Oliver Taras just beside him in 12th. Menno Klant, Matthews Dabrowski and Alexander Gonzalez Green all scored points in race 1, and they have 13th or 15th, with Carl Magnus Bore in 16th. We've Onkvil Hausik, Philip Koenig, Wesley Stefano and Juho Soppinen completing the top 20. Just outside the top 20, we have Massimiliano Raboli, Tomas Smith, Tom Lafont and Kasper Michalak. Final 6 drivers, we have Matthew Zabinski, Marcus Christensen, Raymond Van Soest, Sven de Vries there, 25th through 28th. Vin Glenn in 29th, qualified very well, of course, for race 1, didn't pay off for him whatsoever. He's got work to do in 29th. And then Tun Lower, similar, we want to see best out of him here in the sprint race, but he has to start all the way in the back. Amir in 30th position.
Yep, he's going to be hoping to make good amends for that. Did very well to qualify earlier, but it's just unfortunate for his retirement over lap 2. He's going to be hoping to try and make his amends because he's know he's capable of scoring decent points, did it back in Albert Park. So here's hoping for the second race. It could be redemption here for Team Harrison, for Tenloyer, as Kozlowski now will be the first to line up on the grid for the Nexium team. Pretty interested to see how this would line up now, because Rosak as well, the second of the Nexium drivers, is now going to be ahead of the Maltaforce drivers behind. So he's got a bit of a cleaner start getaway. But he's got Saracino though, and he's got Jansen Bittens as well. So he's not going to be alone on his charge up the field. You can expect them to also cause some trouble as well, because they've been more than capable on it.
Yeah, Matthews Pishan in our chat thinks that Maltaforce are too goated, not going to lie. But let's see if the lie has something more friendly for our drivers who benefited from the reverse grid draw. We have the 5 red lights coming on right now. Let's see if it turns out well for the pole sitter Gozowski. He's away. It's pretty solid to me, but now Vince has a chance to go on the high side and benefit with a bit of exit traction. He's got the lead now here, Amir. He's got it. Tylene following on, defending from Latinan. Saracino loses out, so Roshak actually up in place.
God!
Oh, wide. Oh, that could come onto the track again. What did you see?
Yeah, someone's just gone off coming up from that. That was an absolute tank slapper. But Bent has got the absolute dream start that he needs to get himself up into the lead, though. And there we have Latinan now applying the pressure onto Lucas Island now. Heading through the second side. Oh, going to be a bit of defense from Maka now. Almost down for the inside, but thinks better of it and just about holds in for now. Still not quite close enough, but the Maltaforce has done absolutely wonders to try and claw back up. I'm not entirely sure who that was at. That was
Roshak got punted off. It's Patrick Roshak, yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was punted off, yeah.
That's huge, because he's ahead of the Maltaforce, so that might have been a potential race contender out early on in the early stages of lap 1. So that will allow for Kozowski now, the sole Nexium, to try and hold on to that potential win. But it's put 3/10 off from Vince already, and he's done an absolute storm. And now applying for the slipstream now, as he's going to go side by side now, heading through the final few turns now. Got Kozowski just a little bit ahead, but Vince has the inside, uses it to advantage, and Kozowski now a bit under pressure now from Thailand, and Thailand tries to look for the outside, but just takes better of it though, because he defends very well on the outside line for Kozowski. Still holds it in. Vince leads with Kozowski second and Thailand third.
Yeah, so what a first lap we had. A huge contender out of the race. So after getting the podium, Roshak is out. We may have, we've 3 other DNFs. Lure, De Vries and Braboli are out. A lot of just destruction to think about on our first lap already. So 4 cars are eliminated from contention, and indeed Bintz has taken the lead away from Gozowski. And Tylene here, P3 for KKR Esports. He knows how to win race 2s for KKR, and they'll be working very hard again to try and get their account open for the new campaign. Latinan here, P4 for Apex, with his teammate Taras down in 11th. So far hasn't worked out for Taras. Well, yeah, he still has plenty of time in this race too. 19 laps in all. We're heading to lap 3 in another 45 seconds or so. And this field spread pretty orderly at the moment. Yeah, big queue all the way down to 23rd position. So everybody's in a big pack. But Vince wants to pull clear and make sure Matthews Gozowski doesn't have any tricks up his sleeve like we saw at the first 3 or 4 corners. But here's Scott Flack. He's pulling out to try and find open air in his battle with Saracino. And of course, Decutus in the other team, Sheba's watching on to make sure his teammate is not in any peril. And there we have it. Flack has settled for 9th place at the moment. Side by side, Gonzalez Green and Dabrowski are picking up their battle where it left off in race 1. And in the background there is Menno Klon in the second KKR. So he's down about 2 positions, as these 2 drivers really have ignited the competition within each other. So let's see how they get on.
Yeah, that was a really good overtake there from Dabrowski to get himself up into P13. It's done really well to climb up and get double points on the board for Hyperion. So, and just to see that happens, almost a quick move. But we're going to have a look at the replay now to see the carnage that happened over in lap 1. That was Patrick Roshak now. It's just going a bit with the Maltaforce. So that was coming out through turn 2, approaching for turn 3. it's really, really unfortunate there.
Team Sheba, I think, made contact. Yeah.
Yeah, Saracino, I believe it was, that had that impact. And this is with Raboli and Neuer and De Vries. I think they've all been collected here in some way, shape, or form now. As it's a punt from behind, and it comes onto the racing line and then just collects so many drivers. That's really unfortunate there for Raboli. That collects 3 drivers out with minimal damage, but too much there for damage now. Still within the first lap as well, which is absolutely incredible. 4 drivers are gone. Still 26 left remaining here for lap 3 out of 19, and still a lot to play for here. As looking for Lorenzo, trying to make a move on Scott's flag, but quite to no avail now. Still just trying to look for a move on the overpowered driver. But yeah, as it stands at the moment, you're looking for the time machine as well. Lots of people are on the hards. Apart from Dabrowski on the softs, he's looking to push those softs as long as he possibly can now. But Lorenzo's still on him, trying to make a move, but still not quite close enough. With these people moving on to the hards, we can probably see the action slowing down way faster than we had in the first race. But that didn't make any more of the opening laps any less exciting. In fact, it was probably even more exciting, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so Hyperion and 0-1 are both gambling on softer tires to make sure they can get to the end, or potentially one stop and just give it absolute socks to the finish. So we'll have to monitor their particular pit strategies to see if they do want to come in for a tire change and try and make up for the lost time. Bince's lead has increased to 1.7 seconds, so he's looking very comfortable at the moment for Pixel. And certainly last year they had their good times, not so good times. Yeah, they finished just under 100 points last year, so to get another 20 on the board already, that would be absolutely exceptional. So yeah, Pixel at the moment, they're definitely a team looking to work with everything they've got now and try and improve their lot. So yeah, they want to certainly be battling for higher honours than the P13 they got last year. That's looking very, very impressive thus far for Janssen Bince.
Absolutely, it's only his 9th race in the GPVWC ladder, and to cap it off with a race 2 win is no slouch at all. It's going to be really big points there for Pixelate Racing as well. The team has done fairly well with being in 13th. That will immediately push them up into top midfield contention. Even with that race win, it will carry them for a very long way. But it's still put away with about 2 seconds away from Kozowski though, and still early showings here from still up 5 out of 19. But it can very easily capitalize on it into a race win. But it's going to be interesting to see how all this develops as the race goes on.
Yes, of course. So we see Andrzejewski pretty much flat out through the turn 8 quadruple apex, getting down to business with the hard braking third gear, now through the little complex, and we now have his rundown and his pursuit of Frank Hamming. So title contenders in this early going, and Frank knows that race 1 was not what he needed with a top 10, but if he can do his usual race 2 mastery, then yeah, he will give Andrzejewski a bit of a kicking hit him down, where in the middle of the top 10, really bang average in the 5, 6, 7 range. We have Micah as of right now. He's not set to gain very many points back in the championship, so Pavel's lead should be another 15 points between them as of right now. So yeah, definitely Pavel will be championship leader by the end of this evening's action as things stand. So yeah, at the moment Pavel doesn't need to overexert himself, but if he finds the moment, it will be very welcome if he can overtake Frank Hamming as a potential title threat.
Yeah, it's going to be really extremely hard for not only for Pavel but also for Maka as well to gain the positions as much as they possibly can. It's seen before whenever trying to defend from the person over in P3. It was just so hard to be able to make maneuvers to overtake, and it's effectively very well if you're defending, but you know, you've only got such limited push to pass maneuvers as you possibly can. You've only got so much tire life as well, as much as you possibly can as well, and it's very hard to be able to push in the closing stages as well, because your tire effectively runs off as much as it can. As heading over for turn 11, Lucas Stylen still holding on to the podium very well, still getting under pressure there from the Finnish driver of Lampton. And we see in the back though, that's Andrzejewski making an overtake on Hamming now, heading down through turn 12, and he's made the move work, and that will allow him up for us to get up into 5th and 6th. So it's going to be very good. So that means that if he can catch up to Maka now, so that's going to be even more pressure placed on to the Apex driver of Latinine and Thailand now, and maybe potentially to push themselves up into the podium chance. Still just about under halfway through of the race. Lots of good showings there from Malta Forces, I might say. As look at that, yes, he's all over the back now. Thailand now, maybe Mike to move through 3. No, still just applying the pressure. Still just keeping it behind as much as he possibly can now. Just needs to not lose as much as he possibly can for the second sector, but look how much pressure Maka's making onto Yasuo.
Yes, without a doubt. There's such a brilliant opportunity here on this lap. Latinen got a new personal best in the race in that last lap of 132.4. So Micah, we're on board with him now, gained 2/10 despite that being a green lap for Yafsi. Let's see now, yeah, a little bit of a gain here with that slipstream in front of him. So Tylene, of course, helping him out without meaning to, because Gazowski's in the slipstream. The KKR, so now as they head up to the final 3 corners, a long straight, they're going to be rearing up to go to about 300 kilometers an hour, just about before they break, just before 100 meters, and then slowing down right back to 100 kilometers an hour. And yeah, you can see Latina a little bit high before he turned in, but it settles him well for the run to the start finish straight. And if you're going to be pitting on the soft tire, if you're taking that gamble, you'll have to do it very soon, Amir. Otherwise it just wouldn't make much sense to go deep into the race and then giving yourself 3 or 4 laps to make up the time. If you're going to pit, then we will see cars for Hyperion and or 0-1 coming in a lap or 2. Otherwise they're going to stay to the end.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering how much time they'll be able to lose coming to the pits, because it's going to be interesting to see how much of a gamble that will work for Lafont, I must say. But you know, it's still a very long race. Potentially anything can really happen. So gambles have worked before in the past here, as actually he's retired. So yeah, just not entirely sure what happened there. Anyways, yeah, so 5th retirement actually in the race midway through. So still a possibility to pit, but in my honest opinion, I don't think anyone might pit. I think the time loss is a bit too much, unless if everyone goes in to the pits somehow. But looking here for the replay though, that's Raymond Van Sot, and coming through the 3rd sector. Oh, it's just a bit of a wiggle, goes a bit off track, still about saves it, but just parks it on the apex to rejoin safely. Lost a lot of positions, but still keeps the car in control. So yeah, I lost a bit of positions there. There's Lafont. I think we were saying his heavy strategies, but let's see what's happened here.
Michalak, I think, diving down his inside, and the contact sent the 0-1 Esports car into the certainly into the air. It was off the racing surface there for a moment, so that's an unfortunate one. And I'd say there'll be plenty of work to do as for the race direction. A lot of appeals will be coming in to get the Griffon scooped up the 0-1 Esports driver. Unfortunately, Tom didn't see the benefits of carrying on, so it's up to Yuho to try and secure 0-1 any sort of consolation today, maybe get a 15th place result depending on attrition. So 1/6 of our field has departed the scene, and it means we have 25 drivers still running. We can check out the position changes since the reverse grid draw. Vince and Guzowski, of course, they've swapped around. Pavel Andrzejewski now in P5, he's made up 3 positions. Frank Hamming identical there, +3. Starcino, the big misfortune there. He's down from 5th to 8th. 1 position gained for Flack and Taras, +4 for Bore. That's brilliant. So Team Irish will be thrilled with him. And then +7 for Tomas Smith and +8 for Zabinski. So far so good for that particular gamble to go on softs. Menno Klont -1, but of course he was 15th for a little bit. But Gonzalez Green has dropped out with a point since we were last discussing him and his battle with Dabrowski. So yeah, still a while to go, but yeah, just getting through these first 50% laps. That's so important to now try and push on as Saracino there. He's loose, and the Cutis has to make a decision pronto about what he's going to do, because his teammate doesn't need this kind of stress. But if the team require Lorenzo de Cutis to be ahead, then yeah, they'll have to make a choice on what to do. But it seems like it's okay for now.
Too deep, but I think the team might have done the right thing to just hold off that position. I think he is a little bit faster, but he'll be able to defend from Cutis will be able to defend from Plaque, I must say. So yeah, that's a very weird one in my opinion, but I think the decision was made right, and you can see that Saracino's now immediately made up from the lost ground now, and is putting the foot down to try and catch up into Hemming now for 7th as they go through turn 8 now, and just keep applying the pressure on. Still into 9 laps to go.
Yeah, 9 laps to go, and yeah, Saracino has definitely settled down there, so he's able to get back to work in his pursuit of Hamming. So yeah, Frank Hamming, he'll be thinking, how can I beat these Multiforce guys? I can still do it, but this lap it's not working out the way I intended. But yeah, definitely trouble afoot here if you're a fan of Apex Grand Prix, because Latinen has to deal with these 2 ultra quick poles representing Multiforce. They're still neck and neck, of course, in this pack. But later into the race, when these harder tires are just off their peak, we will definitely see the driver's skills put to the test, and we'll figure out exactly who's best of the best here around Istanbul Park. Janssen Vince, I have to say, 3 seconds all by himself. This is just wonderful to watch out on the lead there for Pixelate, and they're dreaming of a first victory. I would imagine they've never won before. Double check that, but that's my instinct anyway.
No, absolutely. Vince has done fairly remarkable here to hold on into the lead. Not even the Polish driver Andrzejewski managed to pull off a dominant lead as much as Vince has done here in the second race. Has done a bit of advantage for the race pace for Vince, because he's done really well to recover for race 1 and to translate into race 2. That's someone.
That's
Micah. The first driver. Yeah, Micah's actually gone off, and he's going to lose now to Hemming. So that means Andrzejewski is now all on his own to attack to Latman now. So that's disadvantage for Multiforce. He's going to try and claim back, but that's the momentum lost. And now he's going to go wheel to wheel now with Hemming. Surely he'll have the outside line, might be able to carry more speed to salvage what's lost. Although that Sheba driver might be making it go 3-8. No, he backs off just about the last minute. Though with Maka trying to carry enough speed through 12 and then 13, and then be able to try and defend it through 14. Perfectly placed, and gets himself back up into P6. That was very scary, and that I think has probably lost that momentum that Multiforce has had so much Latin now.
Yeah, they were pretty much electric for the entire evening's racing, and indeed the qualifying. So to have that mistake is definitely a knock on the confidence, and it may just suggest that Micah has to worry about blocking drivers behind, particularly Hamming, of course, knowing that he is a title threat. So we're into turn 8, the quadruple apex, and it's just that final piece of the climb that just put him well wide. He wasn't at all comfortable, and then Hamming has to react. All of a sudden he sees the car right in his way. He was able to make the pass, but he ended up losing the position in the counter attack. So yeah, absolutely wild few moments there. And then Soppinen, he would have been 20. He's fallen all the way to 25th, so I'm afraid it's a departure for 01 Esports as an entirety. So it's a big spin, and he loses his rear wing. So yeah, that's what ended his interest in the race. Marcus Christensen, who has 100 to 1. Yeah, it could be foreshadowing to something disappointing. So that's a spin. I think he retired from the race at turn 1. in race 1. So he's at least he's able to carry on.
Let's go.
Yes.
Oh my.
It's Thailand per second. Gazowski loses out.
Oh my god, that was so close though, but that will allow for Gazowski now to have that slipstream though. Not quite close enough for turn 1, but that will allow for Thailand though. Really needs that for P2. That is really good there for the Swiss driver, must say. Wow, that was such a shock after what we've seen from Christensen though. Swedish, thank you very much. But yeah, absolutely incredible though from Gazowski, both Thailand, sorry, to get himself up into P2. Really crucial, but it still allows for the Polish driver to still try and make any climbs though. It might be a big advantage as well for Andrzejewski and Matka if they're keeping their charges up the field, because the more fights that they have, the closer they get to that podium chances as well. So do keep an eye out for them as well.
Yes, of course. So now, certainly Thailand, the race 2 specialists from 2024. If Pixelate, they don't want to relive it because Ed did the research for us. Because, of course, Pixelate with Isaac Clarke in that Chinese race 2, it was down to the final lap, and Thailand pulls the rug from underneath Isaac and won the race in the hard braking zone after the long straight. They do not want a repeat of that whatsoever. Janssen Bince's lead is 3.5 seconds, so he can afford to lose a couple of tenths a lap, but nothing more than that. So Gazowski down to P3 as he wants to get Nexium Paul team more glory in this debut campaign for that team. So they're working as hard as they possibly can just to build on the momentum set by the unfortunate Roshak in this particular race after his P3 in race 1. So he was out of the race after the collision down to turn 3, in between 3 and 4, I believe. So that's how Roshak is not in contention in this race. Well, yeah, Nexium Paul team are cheering on their number 13, Mateusz Gazowski. And that team that wants to take away that podium and get Apex Grand Prix, that final spot. And then, of course, we've Multiforce and their duo, Andrzejewski and Micah, lurking in the shadows. And then, of course, Frank Hamming 7th, Saracino 8th, with his teammate for Team Sheba, Decutus in 9th, and Oliver Taras, again, a driver that does have his best days. He really is one beautiful driver to watch when he has his best days. With a P10 at the moment, it'll definitely be a boon to Apex Grand Prix to have him also in good form after race 1 is a bit anonymous from.
Yeah, absolutely. But as though just trying to keep the Mountain Force drivers behind has done fairly well. It's glad for Maka indirectly to have that mistake coming on, and still with the Finnish driver also putting the pressure onto Gazowski as well. Could potentially be able to go for a podium there, and there we go, an overtake now from Maka onto Andrzejewski now. Fairly simple move. It doesn't want much trouble there because that's exactly what Multiforce wants. They're swapping drivers now to try and see if Maka now can try and make attack on Latina now, heading for the straight now with only 4 laps to go now. They've got 4 laps to see if they can make through onto that wall, which is Latina now for P4. So it's going to be interesting to see how all this develops in the closing stages. And with Mateus now, he's got his chance now to make a charge. Yeah,
so a bit of pronunciation guide here for you, Amir. It's Micah, so there's a J in Micah, so not Maka. I'm afraid the J is actually a little bit more prominent in the name. So yeah, appreciate that. Christers in chat just to double check the pronunciations.
Thank you.
Always welcome. So
thanks, Christers.
Yeah, so Matthews Micah has P5 now, and it's his job for Multiforce just to see if there is anything else left in the tank after that mistake we saw a few laps ago at turn 8. There we go, on board, and again it looks much more settled this time around. There you go, he's taking that final apex neatly, so that gives him a best possible chance for a battle with Latinen. But of course Gazowski is playing his part in this battle, but Thailand is broken clear and he's doing everything he can to break Pixelate hearts all over again.
Yeah, break Pixelate's hearts, yeah, potentially maybe on the cards, but have to see though, as there's Micah trying to make a move down through turn 12. Still not quite yet, but look how close though he's gotten onto the back of Latner though. And Latner though, trying to make a move on Gazuski almost, but not quite yet. Still applying the pressure though with a few laps remaining. That overtake has definitely worked for Maltaforce now, has now applied the pressure now. Here he goes and makes a move down through turn 1 now. This is for 4th, and they're going to go side by side heading through turn 2. With Latner now having the inside line though, he's going to be able to get into a better position heading through turn 3 potentially, but no, Micah has just about fended it off and still going to be going side by side through 3 and through 4, and a bit of a wobble there for Micah, but just about holds it in. And Latner will go through the outside through turn 5 through to 6, and it's still going to be going side by side now through the second sector now. Through they go, it's going to outbreak them now, nearly a collision, and still carries the speed through the outside line, makes the move before turn 8, and that's going to be crucial for Micah, and that will allow him to get up into 4th. Brilliant move, absolutely perfectly placed, and now he'll be able to pull away now. And there's Andrzejewski now under pressure now from Hanny now, as they're going to be going through turn 9, but still not quite close enough. But that's crucial for Maltaforce though, because Micah will be very happy with P4.
Absolutely, yeah. Take a breath there, Amir. That was a lot of work. I can imagine how hard these drivers are working. Frank Hamming knows if he can at least take a point or two off Andrzejewski. Oh, that's a lock-up. Under pressure, Taras thankfully holds before he went fully wide. Scott Flack will notice what was going on there, and he'll try to get the overpower into position. So Taras, just a slight misjudgment there. Thankfully, no contact was made with the Team Sheba, and in this case, Saracino. So yeah, these drivers battling for 8th place can carry on as normal, but that was a heart-stopping moment for Oliver, and it means Scott Flack will want to get right into the face of the number 17 driver. There he is, just trying his best he can to put that mistake behind him, but it could have been much worse. Out lap time between the top 2, it was half a second better off for Tylene. It's not enough. He needs to gain a second a lap starting right now. At the moment, it's about 1/10 at best, but Tylene is doing everything in his power to try and win this race for KKR Sports. But Janssen Bintz, the new recruit for Pixelate, he's almost there. He's almost got them their historic first ever victory, and that will go down so well for all the members of that team. So the Luxembourg driver, he's so close to creating a bit of a history here for Pixelate. Saracino wide, and he's really going to lose momentum now, Amir. Let's see if it is Taras on the rise. It certainly is.
Yeah, he's lost it, absolutely lost it. He's very lucky to have kept that car in control on the grass, but unfortunately that has cost him 9th position. Oh, and that was so unfortunate there for the Team Sheba to have gotten up to 8th and 9th, but now dropped down to 10th though. Oh, look at the back, the Flack just nearly loses it through turn 13. Wow, that was so close though, and now it's on to the very soon the penultimate lap now.
Yeah, so close. It's Pavel Andrzejewski. He's got the opportunity to overtake Latinen to make it a double top 5 for Malta. Not their dream of finishing first again in race 2, but they'll definitely take what they can get here. Latinen though, he's defending so bravely. Oh, he's done absolutely remarkably there. Get the right kind of sweep, nothing too aggressive, but nothing too shy either. And it means Hamming is now in position, so a lot going on here. Yassi Latin, he's really showing what he's got here. Let's see if he can hang on in there just a bit longer. So Finland will be praying just to try and get a bit of success in this race as well.
Yeah, Andrzejewski though just doing very well to keep the pressure onto Latner though. Latner has not dropped off though, by no means. He's done very well to defend from Micah, so he's going to be needed to do the same with Andrzejewski now for the other Maltaforce driver to try and salvage what he possibly can now. And that's Owen Kalhabzik trying to make a move onto Zubinski, and that was a very close for comfort there move, but still over the back from him trying to make a move down for P16 now, using a bit of that slipstream over to his advantage. Might make a move. Yeah, he's going to try and look for the outside line heading through turn 12. and I don't think he's quite close enough to make it. No, he tries to go for the switchback now.
Oh.
Through 13, almost makes it work, and he's going to force him a bit wide, and surely I think Zubinski will just about have a little bit, although Owen Kilhavik, Kilhasvik, thank you very much, will have that slipstream now heading through turn 1, but doesn't use it just quite enough for it, and still holds it to 17th. My god, that was so close.
Yeah, remarkable stuff. Final lap. Janssen Bintz for Pixelate Racing from Luxembourg. He's almost there. 2 seconds to the good. It's just what he needs. He has been losing a few tenths here and there to Thailand. It's not enough, but now for the second time, it's better luck this time for Owen Kvilhausvik. He makes his overtake as those soft tires start to wear off on the Hyperion, and he's so wide now. Through goes Koenig, through goes Gonzalez Green, and they will be trying their very best to try and find Tomas Smith and take a point off him, but it's going to be very unlikely. Here's Oliver Taras in his rematch. Let's see if he can get the job done against the Acutis. Not just yet. But yeah, so much going on. The final 3 corners. Race leader should be there very soon. Andrzejewski, he's going to try one last time against Latinen.
Come on!
Oh
my god, Latino have a bit of that, a little bit of a wheel contact, and then we go side by side a little bit, heading for the final big corner. Oh, he's lost it! He's lost it! And his collision! He's down to 7th! Oh well, now Harmon could get up to 6th. Janssen Bintz wins the 2nd race. My word, and Frank Hamming though covers up the pieces to get into P6. God, that was close.
Well, let's learn the lyrics to Ons Hiemecht, the national anthem of Luxembourg, because the Luxembourger or Luxembourgish, whatever words you prefer there, the demonym, Janssen Bintz has done it, so congratulations. Pixel, what a fine job they have done. They finally got their victory, so the English team have their glory at last. Janssen Bintz with the overtake on lap 1. He never let go of that lead once he took it away from Mateusz Kozłowski. Absolutely stupendous job there. Remarkable work overall. Lucas Thailand, this is revenge for last season in Shanghai, because Thailand has to deal with 2nd place here in race 2 behind the Pixel 8 driver. It is the number 98 beating the 19 this year, and that will feel so nice if you are one of the Pixel 8 Racing members or a fan. And then Kozłowski there, he gets his podium at last for Nexium Pole Team. He's waiting for that opportunity, and he's got it after so many efforts and so many attempts to get the job done. Then we've Micah Latinen having Andrzejewski in that absolutely remarkable ending that Amir carried so well, which we will now run down for the 2nd time. So other cars doing donuts in the foreground there. Very exciting ending with Janssen Bintz. There you go, what a win it was. Just pulling away when he needed to and holding the lap times when he was starting to feel the pressure from Thailand. Then Kozłowski gets 3rd place, so well done to Nexium Pole Team for 2 podiums in our events here at Istanbul. Matthias Micah gets his few points back in the championship. Yassi Latinen for Apex completes the top 5. Frank Hamming, he knew something needed to be done, and he got it on the last corner in the wheel-to-wheel barging against Pavel Andrzejewski. So well done to Frank for taking that opportunity. Lorenzo De Cutis, P8. Oliver Taras, a much better race 2 for him in 9th. And Giuseppe Saracino, unlucky with that lap 1 contact, but he will be satisfied with a P10, at least provisionally. So we'll see how race control deals with all these different incidents. Carl Magnus Bore gets 11th place for Team Iris there. After Thun-Lure, we didn't get to see any of him today. Bore did a fabulous job to secure 11th place. Scott Flack in 12th for Overpower, making sure they do leave with the double point score there. We'll see Smith there in 15th, but just in between those Overpower drivers. Mateusz Dabrowski gets the job done there in 13th. And then Menno Klont, very consistent as always, gets 2 more points for 14th position. And again, 100 to 1, must be wondering what they have to do. Last season, it was a case of trying to see their cars finish without success, but now they're getting 16th and 17th all over again. So disappointing, I'm sure, for Eoin, and 100 to 1. Alexander Gonzalez Green, no points from in race 2 this time, but I'm sure he's made a lot of headlines for himself after some positive battling. Philip Koenig, their P18 for Griffon, not their weekend at all. Raymond Van Sust, 19th, and Vin Glenn, who had to fight from the back of the grid, completes the top 20. Then our drivers who made it to the end were Matthews Zubinski, Wesley Stefano, Kasper Michalak, and Marcus Christensen. So Marcus got complete 100% distance this time. No blue flags for him. So yeah, little incremental improvements for Marcus, and I'm pleased to see that. So well done, Marcus. Keep up the good efforts, and bit by bit you'll get there.
He's my driver of the day.
Sorry, go ahead.
He's my driver of the day for that.
Oh, very good. Yes, driver of the day to Marcus. So well done for the perseverance. DNFs, I'm afraid, took 0-1 Esports down on the double. Juho and Tom both retiring. Tun Luer, Sven de Vries, and Maximilian Raboli all collected in an incident there. They retired. And then Patrick Roszak, heavy contact with the barrier when he was hit by Saracino in the back. So Roszak could not build upon his excellent work in the race 1, where he's just behind the multi-force drivers. But yeah, better luck, I'm sure, from 2 weeks onwards for Patrick in Suzuka. So we'll be looking forward to that one. But a little bit of reflection time. We have Juho in the interview waiting room thus far. We will wait and see if anyone else has the interest to have a chat. So of course, Pixelate, we do want to give them their props as well if they do come forward for an interview, because it is a red letter day for that team. So I'll give another 30 seconds. Amir, do you have any post-race thoughts after race 2 went completely haywire at the end?
I just want to say, everyone, my voice is completely gone. That last lap was such a scare to me. But God, that was so exciting. I think everyone just saved up until the very last moment to basically throw in everything that they can, throw into, moments where you wouldn't try to make an overtake and then make it overtake. And sometimes for the drivers it went better off, and then sometimes it went a bit worse. But that was really exciting. Honestly, it really continues on from the great momentum that we had in Albert Park, and now sort of the championship train has been a little bit cemented and grounded now, and that continues on towards the next race, as we said, over in Suzuka. And I'm just really, really excited to see how the rest of the season pans out. And this has honestly been one of the most thrilling races I've ever had the pleasure of commentating.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled to hear that, Amir. FS1 does know how to put on an absolutely stunning show when it wants to. And there we have it. So it is time for an interview, and we do have the multi-force drivers ready for a chat. So we'll bring them in first as a duo, and we'll have a chat with them after their glory in race 1, and then a bit more of a challenge in race 2.
Yeah.
Hi, Pavel and Matthews. Can you hear us?
Hello, I can hear you.
Confirm.
Very good. Lovely stuff. So, Pavel, I'll start with you. You had the pole position and race 1 victory, but it looked like quite a challenge as Matthews was able to undercut you for brief moments. But how did you actually manage to overtake him and secure that victory?
Team orders. Sorry to disappoint you, but it was only team orders. No, we have made an agreement back in Australia 2 weeks ago, because we knew that undercut is quite powerful in this season. So we have decided that the car behind will be pitting first, and in case the undercut happens for us, then we just agree to give position back. So this is what happens, and yes, very, very good sportsmanship for Mateusz. And thank you to him to stand up to this agreement. And this is what we have also did in race 2, but it's another story.
Yeah, so now, Mateusz, from your point of view, so obviously you had that agreement, but were you surprised that the undercut was as powerful as it was, or did you think, yeah, this is my strategy, I'm going to stick to it, and I'll get myself ahead of Patrick and take second place?
I didn't think that I was able to overtake Pavel with that undercut, but I was confident that we can do it with Patrick Roszak. Yeah, it worked. I was saving from that first stint on the softs all the push to pass, and then do hot lap on out lap with the hard tires, and it worked. It was very hard to keep the Patrick behind us. Pace was good, but I think for me, race one was on 100% what I can go. I can't go any faster. It's very opposite to on the second race.
Yeah. So speaking of race two, Matthias, you got the better of Pavel in that particular battle, but of course Pavel has increased his lead in the championship. So your battles, I think, with Frank and Yassi were a particular highlight. So could you mind telling us how you fared with that one?
Yeah, that one with Yassi was great. I think Pavel can say that, but with me, Yassi fight very aggressive, but it was clear. I enjoyed that. We've been side by side by half of a lap, and I get him on the outside, so it was very good, very tense. But to be honest, it was only one fight in our race. The dirt air kills everything here. It was very hard to do something more, I think. Even we do a swap position during the race. We were thinking that Pavel maybe can do a little bit more, but as you can see, we switched back because it was too hard to overtake in clear condition. It was like waiting for some mistake.
Yes, unfortunately, the turn 8 was washing out pretty heavily on every lap, actually, because when I was following closely Mateusz or Frank or Yassi, then when I was less than 3 tenths second behind them, I got washed up so badly. I had to lift extremely hard to keep the car on the track. And this was killing all the momentum to try overtake another guy, and then on the straight when everyone has same amount of push to pass and actually is able to use this push to pass for the full straight every lap after lap, then it's pretty much a waiting game who makes the mistake first. Unfortunately for me, Mateusz was on the lucky part, but I'm happy for the result that we got today.
Excellent stuff. Now I'll give Amir a chance to have a question, but I think he was so overjoyed at all the battling between yourself, Pavel, and indeed Frank coming at the end. So Amir, over to you.
Thanks, Eoin. Question for you both. Both of you done very good in terms of your momentum early on through the season, given you continue on for your podium streak back in Melbourne and now once again here in Istanbul. Given the nature for the next track, it's something a bit different in compared to Istanbul and Melbourne together. So I'm curious for you both, given you two are both front runners so far early in the championship, what are your predictions heading into Suzuka?
I think that Suzuka is more familiar track in terms of setup to Turkey than Australia in particular, but given that we have made 2 completely different setups for Australia and for Turkey, I think that I can't say anything interesting about that, because now we will be sitting to the drawing desks and thinking how to handle this track. It's very complicated, even more complicated, and there is even more harder to follow each other in this first sector, for example, in Suzuka. So I think that once again, qualifying session will be the most important thing in this race.
Excellent stuff. So I think we'll let you guys go. So congratulations on another victory, Pavel and Matthias. Yeah, keep up the great work. Multiforce, absolutely crushing the opposition so far.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Good luck. I think let's give Juho Sopanen his chance to have a chat, as he's been waiting patiently. He was waiting first. So without further ado, let's bring in Juho Sopanen for 01 Esports. Hi, Juho, can you hear us?
Yeah, hello, I can hear you.
Good stuff. So, I suppose not quite the outcome you're hoping for today, Juho. It was a 20th in race 1, and then you had a single car crash in race 2. But I suppose we'll talk about the race 1 first. How did you get on there?
Balance was horrible, of course, and I didn't have any top speed at all. I just, I was trying my best to drive and not complain about it, but in the end, there was nothing we could do. I mean, we just didn't have the pace, I thought we had the pace for qualifying, but yeah, it didn't really go to plan.
I suppose not. So, yeah, when you've got balance troubles already, and certainly there was a lot of back of the pack battling. I know Tom as well, particularly in race 2. I think he had that collision that triggered the eventual retirement of 3 other drivers, so you'll be feeling very rueful about that. But I suppose, do you think this is just a track that, because it's back for the first time in a long time, that maybe it's just one to get rid of and move on to Suzuka? Would that be the feeling for 0-1?
Really, I just for myself, I really want to forget this race, to be fair, because I have never been this disappointed, to be fair. Just I want to move on to Suzuka, and yeah, race 2 was even much worse. I thought we could have pace. I tried to do a move on Owen, but I made a mistake on the exit, and he got the place back. But yeah, overall summary of a lot of I can't swear Alps, and yeah, it happens. But it's part of racing. I want to give my best on these next several races that we have. Then we have something to cheer for sure. I think we can get more points, but let's see about it. We just push on and keep chipping away, and I'm waiting for that donut from Menno if I win.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that'll be one to keep you motivated for a long time to go. But because you yourselves and Hyperion were the only ones to try the soft tire in race 2, so knowing that you end up losing control of the car, it wasn't the right choice, unfortunately.
Yeah, it wasn't the right choice, but we move on. We go to the next race. I know I can score points. I've scored points before. We just keep chipping away, and either way, we try our best for the next several races, as I said. And yeah, let's just move on to the next race, to Suzuka. One of my favorite tracks as well.
Awesome. So, Amir, any questions?
Well, congratulations though for your first season race finish though, coming out of 2 retirements. It's been absolutely remarkable to score into P20 though. But mentioned it before, a little bit of a dip in form. So just curious, for your saying that you didn't like Istanbul, Suzuka has a little bit more of a different characteristics in compared to Turkey. So curious though for you and your team, just thinking about how you're looking forward into the next race over in Suzuka.
Oh well, recent achievements I had before, winning in Suzuka 2 times in a Finnish league, and also having a lot of experience with it, starting my first race there in my whole sim racing career. Of course, winning there for my first time, and basically a lot of things happened there, and hopefully this will be something that I will never forget in Suzuka. If it is something to forget, then we just still keep chipping away. Just a difficult season ahead, but well, if the hard work always pays off, then it will pay off slowly.
Yeah, and I suppose just a final little tidbit for you, Juho. Owen Hausvik very frustrated, just as I see he's in the interview room, waiting room as well. So He heard me
You sold
probably
him.
saying his name. It takes a while to finish all those syllables, but yeah, definitely his annoyance at not getting points again means that there is a little bit of comfort for 0-1. They are still ahead of 100-1 after your difficult day, I have to say. So yeah, that threat from Eoin, it's not quite come to fruition yet. But do you think you can try and make it even worse for him? Azuka?
Sorry, Kavil House speaking. Oh, sorry. But yeah, hopefully we can score points. But either way, I will feel sympathy to Eoin. But it is what it is. I mean, he's a good driver, but let's see who has the better characteristics in Suzuka. I
Indeed.
can't really spell. I'm really
very
tired.
That's a tough word, yeah, characteristic, yeah, tricky word.
Yeah.
So yeah, Zeeuw, yeah, good to at least have a bit of humour there at the end despite your disappointing day. But best of luck in Suzuka, I know you'll have a great time.
Yeah, thank you. And GPV, don't give me a fine for that.
Profanity detected. Okay, you have a good one.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Look,
Thank you.
LEF Auto Racing Manager Lorenzo Tarovic-Funcic. I think he's been waiting a bit longer than Eoin, so we'll bring in him to have a chat. Of course, Melbourne was a dream start for him, but today it's more about Alexander Gonzalez Green and his success. So let's have a chat with Lorenzo. Hey Lorenzo, can you hear us?
I can.
Right stuff. So today, after Sven's glorious run in race 2, it's kind of the headline go to Alexander after his fabulous work to grab some points. So what was your summary watching from the sidelines?
I don't know. I don't know really what to say. It's just from one race to another. It's only been 2 races, but it seems like the luck between the 2 drivers just seems to alternate. In Melbourne, it was Alexander on the short end of the stick. This time it was Sven. I mean, 48 laps across 2 races, and he isn't, able to do 3 laps because of other people on track. I won't name names. It's too early. New teams, so it doesn't feel fair. But it was all. You could see who it was on stream. I don't think I need to name names really. But yeah, I'm happy that Alexander at least managed to get 15th place on the point for the team in race 1. Race 2, again, on the stream you could see who the people in question are, but wheel clipping while defending on more worn and softer tires is just, no comment. I think no comment, otherwise I'm gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, we're better off wait until sort of behind closed doors race direction summaries, just to make sure we all have everything neatly and fairly judged. So yeah, that's so sad for Sven. He said it himself, and he got to run 3 laps combined after all his practice and preparation. It's just a total waste for his ambition after starting off so brightly 2 weeks ago. But yeah, Alexander made a very brave effort. I think his battles with Hyperion and Dabrowski, they were really, really enjoyable to watch, and I'm sure Amir would agree with that. So yeah, that was perhaps the highlight. But yeah, definitely race 2 didn't quite pan out the same way. I think the likes of Menno Klant would have been battling Alexander, and then just his ending, I don't think it went to plan. So yeah, so close yet so far.
No, yeah, I think Alexander, especially in race 1, gaining 13 positions from the start, definitely proved that even with how Melbourne went, that he does deserve to be in FS1. Clearly, even this being his 2nd round in FS1 machinery, having only done 2 academy rounds and 1 FS2 round last season, I think is proven that he deserves to stay here. But yeah, race 1 went fairly well. Could have been P14, but unfortunately he ran out of push to pass with 2 laps to go. Race 2, I don't know what happened really. I think it was just not as used to the setup on the harder compound of tires. I'm not really sure. But we managed to tough it out. Unfortunately, it wasn't points, but yeah, in race 1 as well, we were lucky enough to have had exceptionally good engineer today for both of the drivers. Unfortunately, well, Sven wasn't around in the races long enough to testify for himself, but if you ask Alexander Overtaking, he can tell you that our race engineer today, Frank Staniewski, was exceptional, and I think his tire call in race 1 was crucial to the points, and unfortunately, it just didn't work on race 2.
Fair enough. I'll pass it over to Amir if you have any questions for Lorenzo.
It's been a bit unfortunate for your team given the strong performance. Well, Sven had very strong performance coming out of Melbourne. A little bit of a different story. I know you're a bit disappointed, but generally does show the team is really here to stay for in the Formula Sprint 1 series, though. And still with that early momentum carried through with Melbourne still in charge, as you said, just a bit of luck. But, curious for the first 2 seasons having settled into team management in the GPVWC. How are you faring, do you think? And what do you think your predictions will be for you and your team coming through, leading up to the first half of the championship, would you say?
Well, I don't really know what to say. I mean, obviously, I said after Melbourne that I think realistically between 5th and 7th would be a perfectly fine position for us, perfectly realistic, and seeing as we're a new team on the grid of GPVWC in general, not just FS1, would be great. But I don't know if our luck continues this way, where one driver has exceptional races and another just gets screwed, to put it in PG terms, by the rest of the grid, then I don't know really what to expect. Hopefully luck turns around at Suzuka and for the rest of the season, but I mean, as I said already, you could see the people in question on stream, and I don't think I want to make any further comments on anything.
Yeah, I understand how tough that must be for you as well, for sure. But seriously, very good luck though. Done very well for your first 2 races, for you and for your team. Both of you drivers done exceptionally well, and here's to hope that your fortunes will be able to change over come Suzuka, because you've been, for a new team in FS1, you've done pretty astonishingly well. So really, congrats off to you, Lorenzo.
Thank you.
Thanks very
Nice.
much, Lorenzo. All done, Amir, yeah?
Yep.
Perfect. So yeah, Lorenzo, thanks for your time, and we'll hope to see you again for the Suzuka rounds.
Thank you.
Bye now. And I think we can just about squeeze in on Kvilhausvik to give himself a right of reply against Zeeuw. So let's hear from Eoin. Hi, Eoin, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh yeah, we heard from Zeeuw just a moment ago, and yeah, is frustration once again for yourself missing out on points, just like you did in Melbourne. And I know you went long in the first in race 1. So how did you feel that strategy worked out? Was it actually to your benefit, or did it end up not working out the way you wanted it?
It was gonna work out. I think it was pretty good. I had pace. I felt fast. I felt good on the tires for once. And yeah, I go out the pits and there's 2 cars on me, and I have heavy damage on every suspension. I have to drive the car completely different and just nurse it to like P17 or 18 or whatever. It's so annoying, but it is nice to see though that both in Australia and this race, it's been so much better when it comes to like just the way I've performed, and like both races I felt I was good enough for like P13. I was in front of Menno before the pit, and he was up there, but it's just unlucky, and yeah, that's it really on race 1.
Yeah, indeed. I presume you would have seen what happened between De Vries and Glenn. You might have just been passing by that incident, or just after there was contact. So yeah, that was a scary one if you were close to it. Just that did take out some drivers that would have been competing for points as well. But bear that in mind. Would you have seen it?
I've seen some crashes here and there. I don't know who crashed when. I just kind of ignored it and kept my eyes on the road. I don't know.
Yeah. Fair enough. It was a pretty massive collision there that took those drivers out. But yeah, definitely your own suspension damage definitely cost you, as you explained there. And then just for race 2, it was a bit of a case where everyone was in a big line for a lot of the race. So were you able to kind of compete with the likes of Koenig and I think Zabinski as well? You would have been close with those two?
Yeah, I was fighting them and I was competing against them. And I mean, I don't know, I didn't feel that good in race 2 compared to race 1. Maybe it's just like the hard practice, but it was a lot of fun. Still learned a lot in that race 2. And it is so annoying with these P16s. How many I've gotten in this team, but yeah, it is a lot of fun though still to race. Just, you know, getting better with the push to pass as well. Like in Australia, I pressed the push to pass button and spun. But so it's going better when it comes to that and managing that and the setup, tires. So I feel a lot more. I'm a lot more confident with all that and better with it compared to last year, I would say. And there's positives to take from both this and Australia with how good I felt. But you know, it was just about putting it together. Australia wasn't really about luck. It was just kind of inexperience with the push to pass and, you know, going wheel to wheel in a corner. I probably shouldn't, just getting impatient, wanting to use that push to pass as much as I could and not like waste it. But I drove more of a mature race today, I would say. You know, even though it didn't really work out in the end.
Yeah, just the way it goes. But just a quick word for Marcus as well. He retired in race 1, but actually got to complete race 2. So yeah, how do you think he's been developing?
I mean, it's only been 2 races, but already it's a bit better, I would say. And I think he was a lot more happy with this than Australia. It was just that he classified, he finished. Because I think in Australia it wasn't classified, but you know, he's still learning, and it was actually in race 1 a lot more or a lot longer in the pack, even though it was at the complete back end of the pack. It was still with the pack, and I think we're just gonna have to do a lot of practice together, and you know, he's still motivated. He's still wanting to do this, so we're gonna do this.
Yeah, in fairness, Amir here beside me, he was very complimentary of Marcus's performance in race 2. He gave him a driver of the day just for making a lot of hard work pay off to make sure he could see the finish line on the lead lap. So yeah, well done to Marcus. And now, Amir, have you any questions for Eoin?
Kivil Hasveg, that's a tongue twister. Apologies for advance who butchered your name during the race, but it is a bit of a tongue twister, so sorry about that. But you know, having started through these races in Formula Sprint 1, these are circuits you've not raced in actually before in your, I believe, in your career. But slowly come after. Actually, I don't think you make it. I don't think your return until Spain until round 5 is when actually you make a return from back in your previous season. So until then, you have Japan and South Africa, both of the 2 races which you don't have prior experience on last year with your 100-to-1 machinery. So curious on for your predictions for how well you've done here, because you've already done very well having not raced in, you know, those sort of cars back in Istanbul and Melbourne. So I'm curious for your opinions come Suzuka and Kailami.
Sorry, Amir. Jeddah.
Sorry? Oh, sorry, Jeddah. My bad.
Yeah, KSA,
Yeah.
Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. My bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, Eoin, for the interruption. Go ahead.
Yeah, both these races, you know, I haven't a lot of practice. I have done like FS2 in Japan, but that was last year. But that's still not a lot. I think, you know, it's hard to say, but I think it's Suzuka I have still raced on a lot in other simulators, so I think that might go better. Jeddah, I don't know. We'll just have to see when we get there. But I am excited to get to Spain and beyond and see how I do, and like see how that translates over to see how the experience translates from last year, and see if I can remember how I did. I have recorded all my races so I can look back, and yeah, I think I mean Istanbul, I still have experience also in other cars in our factor, though. It was like an LMP2, I believe, and Academy many years ago, I think. So it's a bit of experience there, but it's gonna be interesting though. I do like Suzuka, so I think I'll get a lot of practice in there because I actually like the track.
Yeah, absolutely. Been very close though for scoring points though this season, Owen, and honestly you've done fairly well in your early stages to show you're still here to score points, and done very remarkable for you and your team already, despite not scoring anything. But you know, seeing come through Suzuka, you mentioned before it's your favorite track, so there's hoping you'll manage to score the first points for you and for your team as well. And generally, all the best for you and your team. Done very well so far, and also best of luck also to your teammate as well. It's done very well in terms of his performance to climb back up, and I'm sure he'll be happy with his race finish over in Istanbul.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Owen, and best of luck. And hopefully, 100 to 1 will have some points to savor over in 2 weeks' time. So, yeah, thanks for your interview, and we'll see you again soon.
Yes, thank you. See ya.
And that should complete our obligations for the interview section here, Amir. So, yeah, everybody who came forward for an interview, we have had their different points of view, I should say. And just yourself, Amir, just to close out your own summary of the race, as you stepped in very generously on behalf of Alex Hallows. So, what was your take on both of our races today?
Liked it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of my first experiences actually to Formula Sprint 1 action. I've always known how high octane racing that it produces, also given its feature in sprint races formats, and you know, it surely delivered. If someone said to me, introduce me to Formula Sprint 1 and GPVWC, I'll pretty much show them this race footage. It was really astonishing. I think it put on an absolutely clinical display from all the drivers. Very good there from Malta Force, though, to truly show that they're there to stay as, you know, championship contenders. And the thing with both of those drivers is that they're so evenly matched as well that it's not going to be a dull moment in the championship fights. They're going to be probably fighting tooth and nail right to the very end, and you know, got very good chances as well from outside drivers as well, having from, you know, scoring their first race win as well, seeing their first race win in Binz as well. He's done very well. Has his first podium this year, but he's gotten his first win now, so there's a chance for him to continue on for his momentum as well, in addition to that as well. But yeah, so first half through the first two races has shown pretty exciting racing, and you know, overall for the GPVWC doesn't end here, because as well the next race we're going to be over in Tuesday, as Superlights will continue on forth into their round 2 in Istanbul, and then a week from now, after the Formula Sprint 1, is the Indevines, the very prestigious Super League as well. They will host Istanbul as well. But any final moments for yourself, Owen, and how are you feeling for Suzuka as well?
Yeah, I suppose my own take is that, yeah, Malta Force, they are living up to the bill thus far as defending teams champions. They've got that team ethic as well that we saw from Mike Quint and Menno Clant last year. The understanding between Pavel and Matthias is very strong at the moment. So yeah, they should be hopefully able to keep that going, and they will be, you know, very difficult to beat. They're able to secure 3 wins out of potential 4, and even then they were still able to pick up healthy points. But yeah, of course, Frank Hamming did a splendid job just to grab an extra result away from Pavel there at the end. It was worth 1 point, but it could be very valuable as time goes on. It was 10 points for 6th place compared to 9 for 7th. So, yeah, nicely done by Frank. And then, of course, yeah, we saw plenty of battles lower down the field, and yeah, they were absolutely thrilling to watch. And of course, yeah, those drivers who ended up not seeing the checkered flag at least once, I'm sure that one would sting for them, but hopefully they'll be back and raring to go for Suzuka, where it should be another definitely close battle. And I think compliments to all the drivers, 27 in all, within 1 second of pole, which was noted across the board in the chat. So yeah, really good stuff. And I think the championship is bubbling nicely, but yeah, we need to see how things develop in Suzuka. So that would be my take on it, Amir, and I thank you very much for your efforts tonight. It's really appreciated.
Thank you very much. Been an amazing league commentary as well, and it's been an absolute pleasure being here.
Excellent stuff. So Remco Zeeuw, the broadcast director, was here as always, doing a splendid job making sure everything was lined up as it needed to be. We got some very valuable replays also that kept the broadcast nice and up to date. So on that note, it is time to go. We do have Academy as well. I think next Monday as well they'll be having the Turkish Grand Prix themselves. So 24th of March for them, and then it's Super Lights and Super League. So triple header for everybody in GV to enjoy. But that's everything from myself, Owen Harmon. Amir Oates has been beside me this evening. Remco Zeeuw, broadcast director. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.